Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. It is me, ShellshockPrime, and tonight I am going to be doing the Alphabet Challenge Retrospective, which is going to be happening tonight. Originally, it was going to be happening tomorrow, but because of a particular conflict that I was going to be checking something out tomorrow, and because of conflicts, I've ended up moving it to today instead. And I think it's a better call for me to do it today. So good to see everybody coming in. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend so far. Good to see you, Dark Keyblade Warrior, Derek, Dragon. Thanks for coming through. Thank you for the host, Starkus. We definitely got a lot to cover because there's so much stuff. Because the Alphabet Challenge ended last month when I beat Zero Escape 9 hours, 9 purses, 9 doors. I've done all 26 games, and like, it's been like a 2-year ride, and oh my god, like, can't believe it's already like 2 years since I started it, and now like I finished it. Here we are, 26 different games. We got a lot going on with this tonight. We're gonna be doing so many things. Like, I'll talk about like going over all the games, what games actually like were part of the polls, what won, how all of the results were. Also, I'll even talk about the games that were originally part of any of the Alphabet Challenge polls that ended up not being in it for one reason or another, because there's definitely a lot of those. And then after that, I'm going to be showing off a few clips, some moments from the Alphabet Challenge games that I've done. Then afterwards, after I show off a couple of clips, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank the games in the form of a tier list. The ranking from like the worst games that I've done versus the best games that I've done, and everything else in between. And the one that I would consider to be the best out of all of them may actually come off as a shock to many of you guys. But I will say the one that would be the least favorite would probably be like no surprise whatsoever. But yeah. And then after that, I will talk about like the future, like what's going to be like taking its place, which I did reveal at the State of the Channel address what it is back at the end of December. But tonight I will actually reveal what the first game is going to be, and I'm going to be doing this from here on out. So that's how everything's going to go. So that's how the format's going to be tonight. I'm looking forward to actually talking all about all the Alphabet Challenge stuff tonight with you guys. It's gonna be great. Let me just read the chat real quick. You just gave me nostalgia with that Sonic music. I definitely need to see if I can get Sonic Mega Collection Plus sometime. Nice. Yeah. Next Sunday, I'm excited for Season 8 Death Battle. Yeah, I need to get back at the Death Battle. Yoda versus Mickey. They had the Keyblade Mickey. Yeah, I want to see how that's gonna work. But yeah. Oh, next Monday. Okay. But yeah, we definitely got a lot to cover. Looking forward to showing off a lot of stuff. We're gonna start things off. Well, not with the tier list yet. Hey Kyle, good to see you. We're not gonna start off with the tier list yet. Hey Vash, welcome. Let's see. So the way we're gonna start it off is we're gonna talk about the final results for each and every game, how all of them stacked up in each of the polls from A all the way to Z. That's the first thing we're gonna do. This may not actually be a long stream. We'll see how much I can do tonight. But I'll go over as much as I can. This may actually be like maybe like 2 hours or so. We'll see. Anyway, so the final results of the Alphabet Challenge, we're gonna do them all in order of like a letter, even though the one thing I will address is that I remember right around the time when the L game was posted, well, the L game was chosen, what happened is that I had the Wii U issues, which I ended up like just borrowing Epic Man's Wii U for that. So that one is the only one that's out of order, but everything else was in order. But we'll get to the L game, like talking about that when we get there. Yeah, hope you guys doing very well. Welcome. Everyone's just coming due. So let's talk about each of the games that are on this whole Alphabet Challenge list. So we're gonna start off with game A. So, all right. So game A. these are the games that I've chosen. So I had Armillo, which is like a Wii U eShop download that I actually had that I wanted to actually get through. All right, hold on a second. Oops. It was the eShop download I wanted to do. Hey, good to see you, Ice Pick. Are we at the rankings yet? Nope. We're gonna start off with the final results of each of the games. The rankings will actually be later on in the stream, because we're gonna start off with the final results. So the way it goes like this. So Armillo was like the one game I was thinking about like playing from the Wii U, and no problem. You do what you gotta do, man. Alright. So Armillo was like the first one I originally thought about, but I had other games I wanted to put in, which were Azure Striker Gunvolts, which if picked I would have done a stream for it, which I ended up doing a stream for it afterwards, which I borrowed a copy from my buddy Elvis, because he had the physical copy. And I guess I'll go ahead and address this. I was originally planning to do Azure Striker Gunvolt 2 last year, because I was going to borrow his copy again so that I can actually do that. But I hadn't. But the reason I haven't is because of, well, COVID. I was going to do it during the summer, and I haven't got a chance to see him because of everything that's going on. And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to wait till when I see him again, buy my own copy. I'll see if I can find a copy, because I do want the physical copy. If I can't, then I'll just settle for digital, like the next time it goes on sale, mainly because of the fact that I eventually want to do the other games. I want to do Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, what else, Luminous Avenger, and then because Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 will come out next year, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, they did that. Intercreates definitely deserves all the support and the sales. Yeah. The only thing is that, like, because only because of the fact that I was offered to borrow the copy, that's why, and I figured that I would do that. So, Axiom Verge was a game that I wanted to do because I've heard so many people talking about how much they love this game, how much they actually support this, and it feels, I was told it feels a lot like not just Metroidvania, but actually like Metroid. And after playing this game, I fucking love this game, and I can't wait for the new one to come out. And then we have Alwa's Awakening, which seemed to be like a nice adventure game. Funny enough, I've heard about it because of some podcasts I would listen to, and they mentioned this game. It seemed like a small, like, niche hidden gem type of game. Seemed interesting, but unfortunately nobody voted it. No one voted for it. So unfortunately, no. 3 people voted for Armillo, and 17 voted for Gunvolt, but 19 voted for Axiom Verge. Like, a lot of people really wanted to see me do Axiom Verge. I don't know if it was a riff on Link's Awakening. It probably isn't. It's probably just his own thing. Just that's the name of the game that they wanted to go with. But it seemed like a Zelda style game. It might be, but it would have been a fun game to try out. But Axiom Verge, I'm glad this one was picked. The reason why I'm glad that this one was picked, and thank you for the host, Maple. The reason why I'm glad that this game was picked is because of the fact that it's a game I've always wanted to play, and I absolutely love this game. I absolutely love this game so much. So Axiom Verge, I feel as if that it's probably like one of the best Metroid style games I've played. You're gonna go ahead and host too? Sure, no problem. Yeah, so there were 2 rips on this poll. But yeah, Axiom Verge, fantastic game. Thank you for the host, Derek. And it ended up being like something that I'm actually glad that I got through. Good to see you, Maple. Hope you're doing well. All right, so yeah, because this started in January, and I ended up finishing the game in early February. And then later in February, I ended up No, I did not 100% it, but I mainly just started. I did the start and finish. I got a good portion of the stuff, not everything, but I got whatever I needed. That was very essential to me. But there was like at least one stream of it where I felt like I was getting lost. And I actually felt like I did get lost. And it took until like close to the end of the stream where I found where I needed to go. Because I was like going circles with most of it. I would have beaten the game sooner if I knew exactly what I was doing that time. And then every other stream afterwards, I had no problem whatsoever. But yeah. So I highly recommend people to try out Axiom Verge whenever people want to play a game of this caliber. But I did stream Gunvolt. I might stream Ormilla at some point, or Hour's Awakening, but not anytime soon. But Gunvolt is definitely a good one. And yeah, you should play some more classic Metroid Moon and Maple. I really think you should. Alright, next. We're gonna go to game B, which has Battleship Brigade, which had 10 votes. It was the one that won. Next up we had Blaster Master Zero, which had 4 votes. Bayonetta 2, which had 6 votes. And Bastion, which had 1 vote. Around this time, like, I was still trying to figure out exactly how I wanted the Alphabet Challenge to actually be. Does that include secret weapons? I'm not sure how many secret weapons I've gotten. It's been a while since I played that game. Oh, referring to Derek. Oh, okay then. Hey Nickmo. So yeah, for game B, and what I forgot to do, let me go back to game A real quick for a minute. What I'm gonna do for talking about all these, which games I actually wanted to see win versus what actually won. And Axiom Verge was actually the one I wanted to see win out of all of them. So I'm glad that one won. So for game B, the Battleship Brigade had 10 votes, and it was the one that won the poll. Not as many people voted, but people did vote in general. So Blaster Master Zero had 4. Because the reason why I put Blaster Master Zero on here is because when I played it on my own, I got the bad ending, and I wanted to get the good ending. I was going to start over. At the time, I didn't really know like what I wanted to do with the Alphabet Challenge. Like, I planned some of the stuff in advance, like about a few months in advance before I actually streamed some of the games. But like Bayonetta 2 was something that I put on here that I don't know if I should have, because I've done that on my own. But I am going to be streaming that this year as part of Sequel-thon, because that's going to be like the first game I'm going to do for Sequel-thon. Since I've done Bayonetta 1 on stream, I'm going to do Bayonetta 2 on stream, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So that got 6 votes. And Bastion got 1 vote, but I did eventually stream Bastion, and that's a great game. It's from Super Giant Games. I still got to do Pyre and Transistor, and I've already played Hades on my own. Hades is an amazing game. But anyway, back to game B. So Battleship Brigade is a game where it has some action, but it has some puzzles as well. I think I was more interested in the puzzle section of the game, when you're cooking and you had to line up all the food like elements so that you'll be able to have like the best meals and the best scores. Some of the later puzzles were a pain in the ass to do, but like all the action stuff, I've enjoyed it. It felt like a beat 'em up of sorts with a little bit of platforming, but just to gather the ingredients you need. I thought the game was interesting. It's from Adult Swim Games. Battleship Brigade is basically Iron Chef Fantasy. In a way, yeah. In a way it is. But, you know, I honestly think that this is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good game in general. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit of background music. Give me a second. Just give me 1 second. Let me just switch scenes real quick before we come back. Just gonna put some background music real quick. Let's see. I know I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put in Studiopolis Zone Act 1. There we go. All right. And like once it gets close to ending, like I'm gonna switch over to a different track. Anyway, so back over here. All right, so lights, camera, action. Let me just lower it a bit. There we go. Okay, so with Battleship Brigade winning, like I really enjoyed the game. Ironically enough, this was actually not the game that I wanted to see win the Game B poll, but still, I had fun with it. The one that initially, the game that I wanted to see win the Game B poll was actually Bayonetta 2. And to my surprise, like it only got 6 votes, while Battleship Brigade got 10. Yeah, but I don't know, like I was expecting Bayonetta to actually win that, and I actually was hoping Bayonetta would win because I wanted to do that too. But again, no regrets with Battleship Brigade. I'm glad that won. I would have been okay. Obviously, I would have been okay with the other 2 games, because I feel like if I wasn't okay with any of the games, why would they be on the poll? That said, Battleship Brigade is a lot of fun. Is the game like amazing? No. But is it fun? Yes. You have expected Bayonetta Bastion? Yeah. But when I eventually did Bastion, I did enjoy the game. And I honestly think that it's a lot of fun. And it made me want to play other games from Supergiant, which I did. And it gave me Hades. I got Hades, so that's some good stuff right there. Alright. But yeah, Battleship Brigade got 10 votes. And I was actually expecting a little more votes for Bastion, but only got 1. I did expect Battleship Brigade since I enjoyed it when I got that game. Yeah, like it's fun. It's a great game. Now, I got a little more to say about the next group, or at least 3 of the 4 games. One of them I have like no experience with. The rest, like, obviously, like, I know a lot about. And that's Game C. So, Game C had Cave Story Plus, which had 8 votes. Cuphead, which had 14 votes. Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker, and Child of Light both had 4 votes each. And with Captain Toad, the plan was to do the Switch version, which at the time already got new updates. But Child of Light, I would have done it on Switch. Like all of them, like the only one that was a different platform was Cuphead, because I was doing it on Steam. And right around the time when I was playing Cuphead on Twitch, guess what? Nintendo had the indie showcase during the month of March and announced Cuphead for Switch. And I'll say this right now, Cuphead was actually the game that I wanted to see win, and I'm glad that I got to try that game out and play it on stream. And yes, seeing me suffer is one thing, but I will say though, like there was a couple of bosses that were a pain in the ass. Like, for instance, like there was the Matchstick Dragon. Yeah, it took a while to beat him. Hey, System Malfunction, good to see you, buddy. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. There was that like doctor that resembled Dr. Wily with that robot that resembled the Iron Giants. That one was tough. At least it isn't Inner Agent 3 from After Expansion. Oh god, yeah. No, but the robot with the robot with the doctor, that was a tough fight. Yeah, Cuphead is a lot of fun. It took me about 7 streams to beat that game. And when I did, I ended up doing a bonus stream where I played as Mugman, and I did it all on the Switch in one sitting. It's funny how like it took 7 streams to do Cuphead initially, and then just one stream as a bonus playing as Mugman, doing it all in one night. That was amazing for me to do that. But that said, my main issue with Cuphead is not the difficulty. The difficulty is actually what made the game. But the issue that I had was the fact that I just felt that I was expecting another world in the game instead of 3. It's not really an issue. It's not a huge deal, but I just I was expecting more after the 3rd world. But there was gonna be something before going into fighting against King Dice and then the devil himself. Though the King Dice fight was definitely very tough. It was very hard. I actually found that the King Dice fight to be a lot harder than the devil. But overall, Cuphead is actually, like, in my opinion, one of the best games of the last decade. Easily. Like, it feels like you're playing Contra, has a little bit of Mega Man, has a lot of classic video game styles all in one. Yeah, we were supposed to get the Delicious Last Course, but because of COVID, yeah, it got delayed. So it's set for this year. Same thing with the animated series. And instead, what they did was they ended up porting the game to PS4 last year. So now it's practically on like all the major platforms. You could actually play Cuphead on PS5 or Xbox Series X for just through the backwards compatibility. So it's nice you could do that. So let's talk about the other games real quick. The ones that didn't win. Alright. So Cave Story Plus was a game that I eventually did stream. And while I enjoyed my time with it, let's just say I will not be doing any games from Nicalis for the foreseeable future, because the person that runs Nicalis is a complete piece of shit. And the way that he's been kind of playing around with all these devs and like doing them dirty, with the way that he handles like the game distributions, as well as flat out stealing the Cave Story IP from Pixel, which resulted in Pixel making his own game called Caro Blaster. Yeah, I cannot in good faith support Nicalis. That said, Cave Story Plus is still a pretty damn good game. And I play it on Switch. But I would say if people want to play Caro Blaster, K-E-R-O. If people want to play Cave Story, see if you can find the original game, like the original one that Pixel made. Don't support anything that has Nicalis in their name. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I put it on there because it was a game that I've been meaning to do. And eventually I will do that game. And Child of Light, heard great things about that one, because I remember that was released on PS3, 360, and Wii U. And I think it was also released on PS4 and Xbox One, in addition to Switch, and of course PC. But the fact that both of those games had 4 votes each was definitely something that it just ended up being a tie. And one thing's for certain is that one thing that never happened at all was that there would be like winning games. Like once it was the cutoff point, like the day that I was gonna cut off the votes, not once did I get anybody flat out saying that not once did I get like a tie with the 2 winners, or 2 possible winners of the 4. Because what would have happened is if there would have been a tie, I would have extended the poll for another week, or either another day or another week, depending on how things go. And then what I would have done is had more people vote so I could break the tie. That's how I would have done it. But that had never happened at all. So, but that did not put into the equation for Child of Light or Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. The reason for that is because both of them were kind of in third place, because second place is Kate's Story and Cuphead was first. But again, like I said earlier, Cuphead was the game that I wanted to see win out of all 4 of these, and it was the one that did win. So I'm glad that it won. Not to say that I won't do Child of Light or Captain Toad, they will be done eventually, and I already did Cave Story. So eventually I'll do them. So let's go to Game D. Alright. Game D is a little bit interesting. Because I have 2 roguelikes, and I have another game that is kind of like Oregon Trail but going to Canada in some ways, and then the other one is a legendary shooter getting a reboot that ended up being successful. So Dead Cells is one of the roguelike games that I had on here, and Darkest Dungeon is the other. Only 1 person voted for Darkest Dungeon, and 6 people voted for Dead Cells. 5 people voted for Death Road Canada. And for Doom 2016, that won by a total of 15 votes. And that was the game that I wanted to see win, because I've been wanting to play that. I only tried it out when I got it on Switch, because that's the version that I did. So I tried it out, and originally I was going to do Ultra Violence, but I ended up lowering the difficulty to Hurt Me Plenty. The reason I lowered it to Hurt Me Plenty is because Ultra Violence was super overwhelming, so I had to lower it to Hurt Me Plenty. And that's how I ended up getting through the game. Doom 2016 was a great time. It took me about 7 streams, I believe, 6 or 7 streams to beat the game. But there was some funny moments. There were some moments where I was stuck trying to figure out where to go, and it took a while to figure out where I needed to go. That was early on in the game. And there were some moments where I encountered a glitch that I was worried I was either going to get soft locked or I was going to be stuck until I died. And then there was also moments where all I did was face against a bunch of random demons and just killed them, and not only killed them but also made sure to survive as much as possible when there's a lot of enemies all over trying to kill me, especially when I had a couple of boss fights. But Doom 2016 is easily one of the best games I played, not only from the decade but of all time. I love this game so much. I know obviously it would be better on PC, but I played on Switch because I mainly got it on Switch to support Bethesda games on Switch, or at least the Bethesda games that I wanted, and this was one I wanted. Dead Cells, I've heard this was a word of mouth thing. So many people talked about how good it really is, so I figured I would put it in the poll. A lot of people talked about how it's a roguelike, but the fact that you can actually go through the game and have a lot of interactions with people, people in chat would be able to interact, because that's what I was hoping to do if it would have got picked. But what made me interested in Dead Cells was not just the game itself, but the controversy that was going around, because former IGN writer Philip Mewson, he was known for plagiarizing articles, and then what he did was he plagiarized an article from Boomstick Gaming on YouTube. So he took his review and then he practically made it his own, word for word, and people caught him in the act. Hey Dagoff, good to see you. So what happened is that people called him out on it. IGN pulled the review. He made a non-apology, and then for a while you haven't heard from him. Then, though he since tried to come back, but people people not forgiving, and I'm not forgiving with the fact that he did that. Like, if you're going to make a review, do it on your own. Don't plagiarize. The fact that he did, and he was getting away with it for a while, and then he ended up like being let go of my GN, as far as I'm aware. That said, that put a lot of eyeballs onto the game Dead Cells, and then I decided to take notice on how it is, and it looked interesting. It really did. I'll eventually play it at some point. Would be nice to actually do like a roguelike game with interactions, though obviously the one that people would talk about the most would be Hades, but I already did that on my own and I fucking love that game. But then again, Hades is more or less like a roguelike for people that don't like roguelikes. I've heard similar things about Dead Cells, but not as much. But yeah, good to see you, Dagoff. Hope you're doing well. Death Road to Canada. Now that game, because the reason why I wanted to play that game at some point was how interesting it looked, and it was like a different take on Oregon Trail. I know there was another game like that called Oregon Trail, which is a fun game, but this was something completely different, and I feel as if like this is like a sequel of some sorts, even though it's not connected to Oregon Trail or Oregon Trail in any way. But I felt that I would have had some fun with it here, so that's why I put that on there. And for Darkest Dungeon, that one I've heard so many people talk about how they actually enjoyed this one. It's another roguelike, but I think I would have got some enjoyment out of this one, regardless of the fact that me and roguelikes don't always mix. But I would have to go in with an open mind and make sure that I have a good time with this one, with that game. So, but I'm glad that Doom 2016 was a game that won, and Doom Eternal is going to be a part of Sequelthon. Since I already streamed that game, I'll do Doom Eternal soon, but that's going to be the last game for Sequelthon, which will happen later this spring. Alright, let's go into Game E. So, for Game E, we got Disney's Epic Mickey, which won, and then we got Enter the Gungeon, Evoland 2, and Everspace. And Everspace and Enter the Gungeon were roguelikes of different styles, but only one person voted for Everspace and 2 people voted for Evoland 2. I streamed Evoland 1 just in case if Evoland 2 was going to win the poll, which oddly enough was the game that I wanted to see win the poll instead of Epic Mickey. But a lot of people really wanted to see me play Epic Mickey, so I did. Have I played the Doom 64's new secret level that ties into Doom 2016? Not yet. I will eventually stream Doom 64 as well as the other Dooms. I will eventually get to them at some point. Everspace looks interesting, but because like it was like a roguelike in space. Though at first I didn't think that it was a roguelike. I found that after the fact. I actually thought that it was like a space shooter that I thought looked fun. Enter the Gungeon, I tried a little bit of it when it came out on Switch, and I thought it was a good time. But it's a matter of how long would it have taken for me to beat that, especially for this challenge. Epic Mickey, I was not expecting this to get anywhere near the amount of votes it got. But a lot of people really wanted to see me do this one. And I did. It took 6 streams. But let's just say it's a decent game. It's a decent 3D platformer. My main issues were the camera controls, as well as the Mad Doctor fight. The Mad Doctor fight was terrible. Oh my god. Like, it took a stream and a half just to beat him. I did not like the Mad Doctor fight. Final boss fight was no problem. Same thing with most of the other boss battles, like especially when you fought against one of the Petes. Everything was interesting. It was nice to see Disney actually do something with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and then since at the time they got that was when they finally got the rights back, because Walt Disney originally was the one that made the character alongside another man named Ubi Iwerks, or Ubi Iwerks. I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right, but anyway, two worked with Universal originally to make that character, but when Disney decided to leave and some of the guys that work with Disney went with him, they did not bring the character because they didn't own the character. So they decided to go independent and make their own stuff. Hence, they ended up making Mickey Mouse instead, who happens to, let's just say Mickey Mouse is more or less like the little brother of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. But yeah, the game had some really nice tributes and paying a lot of homages to classic Mickey Mouse shorts from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on and so forth. A lot of different references to other Disney mediums, like having the Captain Hook fight is probably like the best fight in the game. Even if it was a bit of a hard time, I thought it was the best fight out of all the fights in the game, like the boss fights. And again, if I had to say what the least favorite fight in that game is, Mad Doctor. Mad Doctor easily. But yeah, I've enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time with Epic Mickey. I will not be streaming Epic Mickey Power of 2. No. I will not be streaming Epic Mickey Power 2. No, 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 no. And if I ever did, it'd be the Wii version. I will not do the Wii U or like other versions of the game. No. And even then, I would prefer not to play that game. I've heard that it's horrible. Like the worst. So much so that that Disney closed down Junction Point afterwards. Which, here's the thing, because I just think that, in my personal opinion, that like Epic Mickey was a lot of fun. Not the best, but certainly not the worst I played. But Epic Mickey 2, no, I am not gonna fucking touch that game. No. Power of Illusion, I've heard, was like, I tried the demo of Power of Illusion at Comic-Con in 2012 at the Nintendo booth, and I thought it was fine. It was more or less a spiritual successor to Castle of Illusion for the Genesis, and I thought it was fine. But yeah, Evil Land 2 was the one that I actually wanted to see win out of all of them, and I was shocked that that Epic Mickey actually won. Probably the best Epic Mickey game. If I ever get a 3DS capture card, I might actually stream that. So it all depends if, and also I gotta see if it's on eShop still, or if it was removed because of Disney shutting down the game studio. But I think it might still be on the 3DS eShop. If it is, I'll pick it up and then I'll stream it when I get a 3DS capture card. Yeah, I am not touching Epic Mickey 2. No, I will not. Now that I'm done talking about Game E, let's go to Game F. Okay, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to put in for Game F, and I will say this before we continue. Games that were originally going to be part of the Alphabet Challenge, but were scrapped for one reason or another, I will talk about that after I'm done with all this. Yeah, F's in the chat. What was so bad about it? There's glitches. The level design was worse. The game felt rushed, because Epic Mickey was supposed to be a trilogy. So, okay. This poll was heated, yes. So, we got 2 different Final Fantasy games, a traditional Fire Emblem game, and a Warriors-style Fire Emblem game. And with Fire Emblem Warriors, I would have only just done the base game, and I don't know if I would have done the DLC. If I did, it would have probably happened like way later, but I would have done the base game. Fire Emblem for Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, I would have had to have used Dolphin for this. I would have had to use Dolphin. Yeah, I remember seeing you stream Final Fantasy VII, Icepick. Yeah, I know you did not like the game. You hated it, yes. Whereas I personally enjoyed the game. But what's funny enough is that as much as I know I wanted to do Final Fantasy VII at some point, it was not the game that I wanted to see win the poll. The one I wanted to see win the poll was Final Fantasy VI, which got 8 votes. But again, I really like Final Fantasy VII a lot, and to be fair, made me appreciate the fact that now, like with Sephiroth and Smash, and also I want to play the remake at some point. But for the remake, I'll probably wait until when like the whole game is complete. Yeah, you played all 3 of the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy games, Icepick. 6 is going to be the next one I'm going to do on stream. I don't know when I'll do 6, but that's the next one I'm going to do. Oh, yeah. I'd say you should do 6 next, if anything. You might like it a lot more than 7. You might like it as much as 8 or 9, maybe. But then again, I gotta play 6 myself. For Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, I would have done Dolphin. That's how I would have done. But I want to figure that out. I want to figure out like doing a stream from Dolphin at some point. I've never got a chance to test that out, but I will eventually do that, and then see like what games I would do for future streams, because I would like to do some GameCube games. But if I can get myself like an HDMI adapter for the GameCube that I have, then I could do GameCube stuff. You did end up streaming Chrono Trigger this year, yes. For Fire Emblem Warriors, I have it on Switch, but I would have done that from start to finish. Maybe not do the DLC. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is fantastic. Such a great game. Yeah, the PC version of Final Fantasy VI is not that good. I probably would have played it through the Super Nintendo Classic. That's the version I would have done. Super Nintendo Classic version of it. For Final Fantasy VII, like, it released on Switch, and there we go. That's the version I did. They did add some quality of life stuff, but I ended up not. I only ever used it once, like the speed up, because there was a point where I had a bullshit death and I needed to get myself back to where I was, which took me about like 5 minutes. So that's just to do that. Did they patch in the GBA translation? I have no idea. I don't know. I haven't actually like tested it out completely, only a little bit. So I want to say no, but I gotta be sure. But yeah. Oh, fan patch. Oh, I'll have to see. But yeah, no regrets on Final Fantasy VII. Really enjoyed the game. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I'll eventually stream the other games at some point. Do Fire Emblem, the Path of Radiance, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to get a copy of my own for that game. This is expensive as hell. Personally, I would hope for a re-release of that and Radiant Dawn as a double pack, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. And for Final Fantasy VI, I'll do it. Fire Emblem Warriors, I'll do it as well. Oh, Darkus, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Kyle Gamer. Thank you for that. Alright, so as we move on from F, we're gonna go into G. So the G games we had here are Guacamelee Super Turbo Champion Edition, which won with 17 votes. Golf Story had 12. Grease had 13. And Graceful Explosion Machine had 0. I was trying to think of one more game that was G that I was able to do. Oh, sure. No problem, Icepick. And thank you for the 1,000 bits, Darkus. Alright, so the reason I put Graceful Explosion Machine is because I thought it would have been a nice game to put in there. And And thank you for that one. You just wanted to beat Dragon? Well, now you're the leader of the bits. Thank you for that. I just drew it there. And I at this point, like, I feel like it would have been a nice game to have played, but a lot of people didn't seem interested in it. Yeah, Golf Story, I've heard so many great things about it. Alright, give me 1 second. Let me switch scenes real quick. Alright, you gonna go watch a movie? Alright, have fun. Take care, man. Alright, let me pick a different track I know I'm gonna go for. Let's see, so... Alright, there we go. Now, let's get back to talking about this. Okay, so... But yeah, take care, Darkus. But yeah, Golf Story, I've heard so many great things about. I even watched Silver play it during his Alphabet Challenge back in 2018. And I haven't, but I'll eventually stream it. For Greece, I eventually did do a stream of it afterwards. But it was a very short game. And I've enjoyed my time with it. But Guacamelee is the one that I wanted to see win out of all of them. Mainly because it's a game that I originally started playing on my own on the Wii U, but Wii U overheating issues, I ended up like just putting it off. And I ended up playing it on Switch. And it won with 17 votes. As I was hoping it would win, because like a Metroidvania style game, but with a Lucha Libre setting, like a Lucha Libre like motif, why wouldn't I play a game like that? Of course, this would be something right up my alley. And I played it. It took 2 streams for me to beat the game, because the game's not that long. But I really enjoyed my time with this one. I really think that it's something that I needed to actually play. Like, if I was gonna play all these indie games, especially considering I play Runbow and 1 is in the game, I figured why not at least play like all the games that like were based on the characters that are in Runbow as well, and he's one of them. So there's that. And when I do my sequel-thon in the spring, I will be doing Guacamelee 2 as part of that. So I'm looking forward to doing that. The whole South American mythology was fun, yes. And I'm looking forward to when I do the sequel later this year. So Greece was a lot of fun, and I'll eventually do Golf Story. I don't know if I'll do Graceful Explosion Machine on stream. It doesn't seem like people are interested, so I don't think I will. That's the closest thing you can find. I see. I'll see if I could try to patch it, but I'll do what I can. Now we'll move on to H. Okay, so for H we have Hyper Light Drifter, which won with 17 votes. Hover, which won with 2 votes. Hell Yeah, which won with 6. And Hellblade, which won with 13. So I have Hell Yeah on Steam, and for Hellblade, I would have played the Switch version because I wasn't confident with how my PC would handle it. Hover would be the Switch version because that's the Kickstarter. Hey Nasty Boots, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hover was a game that I backed on Kickstarter, and I ended up like getting the code and putting it on Switch because I originally backed it for Wii U. But when they canceled the Wii U version, they ended up putting on Switch. Rough few days, yeah, I know, man. Yeah, it's been rough as well. Hyper Light Drifter was actually the game that I wanted to see win this poll out of all 4 games. So many things that I've heard about, and I would watch the gameplay. Like, this was on Kickstarter, but I ended up not backing it. But I would have if I could have. And I know that if I would have got it like on like PC years ago and played it, I would have enjoyed it. But I got it on Switch. I enjoyed myself with it. The game wasn't easy, but it still was a good time. And I know like that studio has worked on a couple of other games as well. But overall, I had a great time with it. Like a lot of really good action. At first, I was thinking it was a roguelike, but it actually wasn't. But the style of the game, like the art style, I felt was really good. Just random question, would you consider Hellblade an indie game? No, I would not. Mainly because the company, because Ninja Theory, I don't know if I would consider them to be indie. Well, definitely not now because they're owned by Microsoft. But back before they were owned by Microsoft, I don't think I would. But they were the ones who made the DMC reboot, and they also worked on a couple of other games as well. But they're owned by Microsoft now, so hopefully, whatever projects they're working on soon works out for them for the best. Because I want to see what they can do. But I've heard great things about Hellblade, and I've seen how it looked, and now it's getting a sequel on Xbox Series X, which is actually pretty cool that it's getting a sequel. It's a game I'm going to stream at some point, the original game. And I'll eventually get to Hell, yeah. I've heard great things about this one. I have it on Steam, so that's something I would like to do at some point. Let's go to Game I. We have Iconoclasts, which won with 11 votes. It'll Do 2, which won by 5 votes. Into the Breach, which had 8 votes. It'll Do 2 only had 5 votes. It did not win anything. But only Iconoclast won. And I Am Setsuna. Sorry, I was checking Twitter real quick. You got a bounce? Alright, no problem, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good one, Nasty Boots. I Am Setsuna only had 4 votes. But the thing with I Am Setsuna is it seemed like a pretty decent RPG. It's from one of the Tokyo studios from Square Enix. They also made Lost Spear and Oninaki, and I don't know if they made any other games beside that. But it seemed like a very interesting RPG that I would have enjoyed. It'll Do 2 would have been a nice game to have played, but eventually I'll stream it. But I think I'll stream It'll Do 1 first. And both of those games were originally published by Nicalis, or at least I think the second game was. And then they ended up having a falling out with Nicalis, and then now they ended up getting the self-publishing rights to their own game, which is pretty cool. So I'll eventually stream It'll Do 1 and 2. Into the Breach, another game. It was a strategy game that I felt that would have been nice, but I'm not sure how many people that watch my streams would have been into something like that. But I think I would have enjoyed it. But Iconoclast was actually the one I wanted to see win the whole thing for Game I, and it did, and it's a lot of fun. The story, in my opinion, was kind of the weak part about it, but everything else, the gameplay in general, was great. The story was kind of more or less predictable. I gotta close Twitter. It was more like a predictable, having a sibling go away for a while, and then they die and all that shit, and then you have to and then you just suffer a lot of pain. I just didn't really click with the story, but I really did how the gameplay was, because it was more or less a Metroidvania style game. But overall, it was fun. Definitely no regrets on that one. It's not the best game that I played on the Alpha Challenge, but it's definitely somewhere in the middle. I had my fun with it. If they ever make a sequel, I don't know if they'll actually make a sequel though. So now we'll go to J. So, okay, let's go with this one right now. I just want to address something. J was actually one of the tougher games to actually find games for a poll of this caliber right here, a poll of this style. Yeah, I've been hearing comparisons with I Am Setsuna and Chrono Trigger, and I'm not so sure how accurate they are. But yeah, I've never heard of Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, so like I was trying to find games on PC with the letter J. Jump King was something that Professor Iceberg suggested to me to add to the poll because I was running out of ideas with J because I only knew of Jotun and Jet Set Radio. Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, like, it seemed like a very interesting game, but only one person voted for it. 6 people voted for Jump King and 5 voted for Jotun. And then, of course, Jet Set Radio won. And that was the game that I want to see win. But not only that, but there was like a Twitter account where someone made like a Twitter account based on DJ Professor K, which has a huge following on Twitter. Like, there's a huge following of people over there for Jet Set Radio. And I think they retweeted some of my tweets and people, when I made the poll, and people voted for it. So that's how I ended up getting 21 votes for that. So Jet Set Radio ended up winning. And I'm glad it did, because the game is amazing. One of the best games that was on the Dreamcast, but I played the game on Steam. And the only thing is that I think 1 or 2 of my VODs on Twitch might have been like muted in some areas because there's a track from Rob Zombie in the game that would flag it. But other than that, like, it would flag the stuff, and then you would hear like 6 minutes of nothing. I hate the fact that Twitch does that, the whole DMCA thing, but whatever. That said, game is fantastic. Music is great. Like, obviously the music is like the big thing, but I actually enjoyed the gameplay, though it's something I had to get used to at first. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. Like, being able to roller skate, spray painting, and making sure to get away from like a bunch of people trying to get you. Not only that, but like all the bad guys in the game. I keep forgetting that people could actually see that. All right. Not to mention the fact that you have different characters you could choose from with different styles. I really like playing as different characters in the game. But the final area, the final boss, took a little bit, but I managed to get through. Overall, Jet Set Radio's fun. I would like to stream Jet Set Radio Future if it would ever be re-released on platforms that I have, like Steam or like Switch. They should actually just do a re-release of Jet Set Radio Future. Just do it. I don't know like how much I would have actually liked Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. Jotun and Jump King looked fun, but Jet Set Radio was the one that won. I'm glad it did. Alright, on to K. So for this one we had Katamari Damacy Reroll, which was on Switch. Well, it would have been the Switch version, because it was actually very close between that and Katana Zero. And Katana Zero did win. Killer 7 got 1 vote, and Kiro Blaster, which is the game made by Pixel, same guy that made Cave Story, nobody voted, and I'm actually shocked about that. As much as I'm glad that I got to play Katana Zero, that was not the game that I actually wanted to see win the poll. The game that I wanted to see win the poll was actually Killer 7, and that only got 1 vote. But a lot of people wanted to see me do Katamari, which I'll get to at some point. Same thing with Kiro Blaster and Killer 7. But Katana Zero is actually the only game in the Alphabet Challenge that I've beaten in one sitting. And after that, I decided to make like my own personal rule where I am not going to add any games in the Alphabet Challenge moving forward where I beat it in one sitting. I feel like that's not fair. Not only that, but it just kind of throws off like whenever like I do a poll, like how long it will take. Because usually I would prefer like a game lasting a little longer as a poll is going on. And Katana Zero, I ended up just being in one sitting, like 6 hours, like close to 6 hours on stream. Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed Killer 7. I gotta stream that game at some point. Hero Blaster, I'll stream it, but it seems like a fun game, and I want to support Pixel. I think I have the game on Switch. I have Katamari Damacy Rerule on Switch. I have the physical version in my shelf with all my other Switch games. But yeah, Katana Zero like is incredible, and there's just way too much games with that. Wait, there's DLC planned for Katana Zero? I must have forgot about that. At this point, might as well just turn it into like a sequel or something. Might as well just make a sequel. But yeah, Katana Zero is a lot of fun. And even though it wasn't the game that I wanted to see win the poll, I'm glad it didn't win because I had a great time. But being in one sitting and then like made me just realize I should not be doing that for future games, for future polls. Alright, we're gonna jump ahead to 2020 because we're still in like the timeline for 2019 for this, but we're gonna do Game L. Why 2020? Because that's when I actually did this, because that's when I got the Wii U replacement from one of my friends from Epic Man, who lives very close to where I live, so I figured that's how I would do it. So I borrowed Wind Waker. Well, I didn't really, I mean, he had it in his Switch, but I mainly borrowed the Wii U because his Wii U was working fine. And what happened is that I ended up playing it through that. So it took about like 5 or 6 streams to beat that game. But yeah, but on the poll itself, Twilight Princess HD was 7 votes. Wind Waker HD won with 12. Lost Sphere had 3, and L.A. Noire also had 3. And the game that I actually wanted to see win this poll was not Wind Waker. It was actually Twilight Princess. Because I felt like I cheated myself for not actually playing the game when the Wii was new. Like, I didn't really play it much. My brother played it. I felt like I cheated myself for not doing that. But I'm going to do it this year with a bunch of other Zelda games like Skyward Sword, The Oracles, Minish Cap, and a couple of other Zelda games. Because I already did Zelda 2. Lost Sphere, another game from the Tokyo studio from Square Enix, like I Am Setsuna. And I've heard people say this one's the weakest one. But I was still intrigued. And L.A. Noire, I would have done the Switch version of the game. I'll probably still stream it at some point. I don't know when. But Wind Waker is incredible. Like, that game is so much better than I actually thought it would have actually been. And I like, they actually fixed a lot of issues that the original game had, like the sailing, so much better. For instance, and they did add a few things, but it was mostly Miiverse stuff, which there's no Miiverse anymore, so there's that. But Wind Waker was great. And I ended up just doing it last summer, so ended up being it there. And that's that. So now we go to letter M. We got Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which won with 15 votes. Mark of the Ninja Remastered, which had 2 votes. Mercenary Kings, which had no votes. And Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which had 6 votes. So I did 1 stream so far for Monster Boy. I will revisit the game at some point to finish it off, because when I was doing the People's Choice, Matt Big Fat was the one that chose the game for me to do. So I've did about like 3 to 4 hours of that game, and I'm going to do more of it like for a future stream, which I still got to get around to doing that. But Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was the one that won. So that had a couple of streams. This game was so much fun, and I don't really care about Rabbids. Yet for whatever reason, this game was a lot of fun. Just having like the gameplay, people compared it to XCOM, which I haven't played any of the XCOM games, but I heard they were pretty good. But with that said, just having like Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, and the Rabbit counterparts to them, all teaming up like to fight off like different rabbits, and also like Bowser and all that. Great stuff. A lot of really good humor with the game. and a lot of neat references, and also the music from Grant Kirkhope, phenomenal stuff. Grant Kirkhope kills it all the time. Monster Boy is a game I played on my own this year, great stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of that game I picked. Mark of the Ninja, I've heard great things about. I'll eventually play that. Mercenary Kings, would have been nice to have seen win that, but nobody actually liked that. He made an entire career on a single melody. And the thing about Mario Plus Rabbids, that actually was the game that I wanted to see win it. But yeah, Mario Plus Rabbids won. Fun game. I still gotta do the DLC expansion with Donkey Kong. And I hope there's a sequel. Oh, David Wise is amazing. David Wise is fantastic. Okay, next up, we got Game N. Nefarious, with 3 votes. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, 8 votes. New Super Lucky's Tale, which won with 15 votes. And Not a Hero, Super Snazzy Edition, which had 2 votes. And funny enough, as much as I enjoyed New Super Lucky's Tale, that wasn't the game that I wanted to see win it. The game that I wanted to see win the poll was actually Ni no Kuni, which only got 8 votes. More people wanted to see me do New Super Lucky's Tale. New Super Lucky's Tale, I enjoyed it. I feel like the game itself, on its own merits, is a really good 3D platformer. I enjoyed it a lot more than Yooka-Laylee. We'll get to Yooka-Laylee later on, when we discuss the game-wide game. But I still had a great time with this one. There were some 2D sections, but there was a lot of really good 3D sections here too. I like the theming of the worlds, though the final boss was predictable, but everything else was really good. I've heard Not a Hero was a fun game I would like to try out. Nefarious, I've actually backed it on Kickstarter. At the time, I had no idea you could switch to the Switch version. When I believe they canceled the Wii U version, so I switched to the PC. But then I noticed that it was on Switch, and I got it when it was on sale, so I got it there, and that's how. And there's that. Ni no Kuni, I would have got the Switch version, which I still want to get the physical copy of, but I'm waiting for the physical copy to get on sale for that one. And I actually missed the Black Friday sale for that game, because when I was looking to get that, it was sold out. Ni no Kuni might have been as long as Xenoblade. And Mario Plus Rabbids was great, but it felt like it went on a little too long. Like, I didn't feel like Mario Plus Rabbids felt a little too long. I felt it was just fine as it was. Imagine Snack, a collector's edition of PS3 version Ni no Kuni. It was expensive back then, but now it's insane. Just the Wizard Book alone is expensive. Damn. I've heard the sequel to it wasn't really all that great. I've heard mixed things about the sequel, but everyone that I've talked to regarding Ni no Kuni loved the original one. Alright. But yeah, I enjoyed my time with New Super Lucky's Tale, and I would like to do Ni no Kuni at some point. Alright, next up is Game O. So we had Ori and the Blind Forest, which had 12 votes. Okami, which had 14 votes and won it. Overlord, which had 1. And Onimusha Warlords, which had 5. And the funny thing about this, since then, I've played 3 of the 4 games on this. Okami won, Ori and the Blind Forest in the original format for Pick Your Poison before I turned that format into the People's Choice. Enigma was the one that chose Ori and the Blind Forest for me, and I have since beaten the game. And then not too long ago, like last month, I did Onimusha Warlords. And Onimusha Warlords, I beat it in 2 streams. And that game is awesome. But what made me sad about that is that, the remaster did not perform as well as Capcom was hoping. It doesn't seem like we're gonna get, re-releases of the other games, which I want them to re-release them. I want to play Onimusha 2, 3, and Dawn of Dreams, and maybe even the Game Boy Advance Tactics game. I might have to just, figure out this whole PS2 emulator issue that I have regarding like the controller, so I can actually do that. Yes, Okami is such a beautiful game, such a fantastic game. People compared it to Zelda, specifically Twilight Princess, and say it is a better game than that. I have to play Twilight Princess myself, but Okami, man, I feel like that was a game that, well, at the time that the game came out, should have got more respect than it did. But I felt like people started to pay more attention to it with the Wii version, and then like when the HD version has since sold over 1 million, and it actually sold the most on Switch, which actually shocked me. I thought it was going to sell the most on PlayStation 4. Okami in HD, that would be nice. I really like all the adventures you have to go through, but I feel like Okami was kind of like 2 games in one. Because I felt that there was, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't played it, but like there was like a point in the game where I felt that it could have ended there, but they decided to continue it on. When you eventually play the game, you'll know exactly what I mean, for those who haven't played Okami yet. But it goes on sale on Switch, PSN, Steam, and all that. I'd say it's completely up to you. I did the Switch version, and I played the Switch version with Joy-Cons. Because I will say this, the Switch version has both touch controls on the touchpad on the Switch, and the motion controls the same way you would play it on the Wii. So I personally played the game with Joy-Cons. I felt that was the experience that I wanted out of Okami, and I got it. And I felt that it was much worth the experience. Let me see how long this, alright, I'm actually gonna pick a different track real quick, before I switch over to the game, P game. Alright, I'll go with, I'm gonna keep it at Sonic Mania. I'll go with, this one. Yeah. With, Stardust Speedway Act 2. I think that's what one I'll go with. Yeah, Masei's LP over Okami, nice. Yeah, the Switch version has motion controls for Okami. Great game. And Okami actually was the game that I wanted to see when the game polled, yeah. Okami is a great game. Fantastic. It's like, I'm hoping eventually we get some more Capcom remasters, but this was definitely one worth getting for what it is. I really enjoyed it a lot. And it's funny how I had 2 Capcom games on this poll. Overlord, I might actually do that at some point. I actually have it on Steam. Seems interesting. Next we go to Game P. Penny Punching Princess, which had 2. Portal 2, which had 11 votes. Phoenix Wright, which won with 18 votes, and the original Phantasy Star, which was going to be the Sega Ages version, had 4. I have since played Portal 2, thanks to Moonlit Maple for choosing it for the People's Choice. So Okami pulled the Kid Icarus Uprising. Yeah, you have multiple control options for that. Portal 2 is definitely a great game. Penny Punching Princess, I would have probably borrowed it from a friend of mine, but it seemed like a niche like action game, but I think I would have enjoyed it. Phantasy Star, I have it on Switch. I would have done that. And Phoenix Wright was the game that I wanted to see win that. Phantasy Star on Switch is such an improvement. Nice. Phoenix Wright, like I did that, and I'm glad that I did. Because I really enjoyed it so much that I ended up like streaming the second and the third game not too long. I streamed the second game a few months after I did the first, and then like during like the late summer, early fall, I did Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. But I will say that for each Phoenix Wright game, I felt that 2 is better than 1, and 3 is better than 2 and better than 1. Like I felt like each game was better than the last one. I will eventually stream Apollo Justice when I get a 3DS capture card, but I heard that's actually the weakest game out of the main Ace Attorney games. Yeah. So, Phoenix Wright is such a fantastic game. Really like the characters. Really like the setting. Really like how like all the cases work. I'd say the best case, in my opinion, for Phoenix Wright 1 was probably case 4, but case 5 probably comes in a close second. The one thing I don't like about case 5 is the fact that Maya is not in it. She was not in it at all. I like Maya. Mia Fey is cool. Edgeworth is good. Yeah, I like some of the characters that came out and that joined the series in 2 and 3 better. Yet, I don't like Godo. I don't like Godo at all. And I know that Shad really likes Godo. And we had that discussion during the stream before. But I just didn't really he just didn't really click with me. As a prosecutor. Yet Franziska von Karma grew on me. At first I didn't like her, but then like her personality started to click with me later on. So I would say Franziska's way better. I think she's probably the best prosecutor out of like the recurring ones. Though Manfred von Karma is something else. Overall, Phoenix Wright was definitely good. Alright, next up, this is the hardest one that I had to figure out. Q. Quest of Dungeons, which won with 9 votes. Corn, Undying Thoughts with 1. Cube 2 with 8. And Curio Blaster with 1. I was actually rooting for Curio Blaster to win, but Quest of Dungeons ended up winning. And Quest of Dungeons ended up being my least favorite game in the Alpha Challenge. It's not a bad game, it's just meh. It just didn't seem to work the way I was hoping it would. I just wasn't really like impressed with it. So I ended up it turns out that the first map was the only one that mattered and the other 2 were just extra maps. So I ended up being the first map and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not gonna continue on with this. I'm just gonna, because I technically did beat it, but at the same time I didn't do the other maps. I had no desire. I just didn't really enjoy the game like that. Corn looked interesting. So did Curio Blaster. Cube 2, I heard was a much better game than the original Cube. And Silver did the first Cube in his Alphabet Challenge. But this one, I felt like was way better. I figured I would do this one instead. So let's do R. Return of the Obra Dinn with 10 votes. Retro City Rampage had 5. Rive Ultimate Edition had none. And Resident Evil 4 had 16. And Resident Evil 4 was the one that I want to see win. But Return of the Obra Dinn is one of the channel points requests thanks to Dragon, which I will be streaming that later this year. I'll eventually do Retro City Rampage. I might do Rive at some point, but Resident Evil 4 was the one I'm glad that won that. Great game. And it was actually my first time going through the game, which shocked a lot of people, but I'm glad that I got through it. Such a great game. Overall, the best part about that game is the fact that I ended up like having to go through all of it, experience it with people, had some really great moments. But there was one blemish. There was this one guy that came into my stream, and here's my thing. I don't mind people helping me out. Like there's people helping me out like in streams whenever they can, and I don't mind that, and people also ask me for help. I usually prioritize people who are regulars to help me out mostly. But I've had this one dude who was pretty rude, but I was trying to keep I kept my cool the whole time. But there were moments where like he got on my nerves, telling me everything, and the way that he would address me is, please read or you're gonna die and suffer the consequences. And then he was lucky that I did not like ban him, that I did warn him, and he still kept going. I should have banned him. He kept going on and on and on, and he would not stop. I didn't even know who this dude was. And I felt like it wasn't fun that night. It was like the second stream of it. The next night, however, I was like, if this dude comes back, I'm going to warn him one more time, and if he kept doing it, I would have had to ban him. Because I wanted to have fun with the game. And I'm like, let me go through the game on my terms. And if I need help, I'll ask for it. He did not respect that. At least the people in the community respect that if I need help, I'll ask them, or like they know. But they'll offer help whenever like they really need to give me help, and I always appreciate it. But there's people that just don't respect that, and that really pissed me off that day. And I felt that if he was gonna come back again to do the same shit, I was not gonna have it. He never came back. He has never came back to any of my streams after that. And the rest of the run for Resident Evil 4 was a lot of fun. There were moments where, like, I know I was messing a few things up, but there were a lot of really good moments too. I think I remember that stream, like, hinting is okay, but let the streamer play the game and not... Yeah. That's exactly it. I don't mind, but... This guy was just a pain. He was being pushy about that, saying like, you need to do this, and he kept saying, please read. And he was very adamant about the fact that I paid only attention to him and no one else. And that was bullshit. That said, he didn't ruin my experience with Resident Evil 4. I'm glad he did not ruin it. It could have if he would have kept going in, but it did not ruin it at all. And oh my god, you missed this one coin. You have to go back for it. No, but he was because he was being an asshole about it. Whereas there are people like at least were respectful. But Resident Evil 4 is a great game, and after I beat, because like on the last stream of the game, it was short to the point where I ended up like just beating the final boss within like an hour or so into the game, into the stream. And then I ended up just doing Mercenaries for the rest of the night. And Mercenaries was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Mercenaries. I think that's a really great side mode to an otherwise fantastic game. I had a great time with Resident Evil 4. Next up, Game S. South Park: The Stick of Truth, Starlink Battle for Atlas, Sushi Striker: The Way of Sushido, and Secret of Mana. This is without a doubt the closest poll out of all the polls. Oh my god. For a while, like when I said earlier that if the event that there would have been a tie, that I would have extended the poll, it almost happened here. It almost happened here. Funny enough, the game that I actually wanted to see win this poll was actually Secret of Mana. And to my surprise, South Park ended up like getting that one last vote the day before I cut the whole poll off so I can get the results ready. South Park ended up getting that last vote in. And man, I had no regrets playing South Park. It took 3 streams for me to beat that game. And there were some things about it that I was kind of worried that like Twitch was not going to be too happy with me about. But then again, it's South Park, and it was like the one level where like you were shrunken down and you had to go through your parents' room. That part, I was expecting that video to have been flagged, and it wasn't, which shocked me. But that said, South Park: The Stick of Truth is a great game. It's a lot of fun. It's practically Paper Mario in South Park form. That's the comparison that I could actually make for this. I need to, and the thing is, this is another game where I'm going to be streaming the sequel for Sequelthon, South Park: The Fractured But Whole. Yeah, I kind of lost interest in South Park myself, but I still want to play the games. And I will be doing South Park: The Fractured But Whole for Sequel-thon. It's going to be the third game for Sequel-thon. Like right after. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention, since I did Resident Evil 4, I'm going to do Resident Evil 5 for that. But Resident Evil 5 is going to be the co-op with Epic Man. That's going to be happening after I beat Bayonetta 2. Starlink, I eventually did stream it, thanks to Mr. Ben, who picked the game for me for the People's Choice. And very solid game, but let's be honest, people mostly care about this game for the South Park characters. That's the only reason people care about this game, for the South Park characters. But that's South Park. Star Fox. Sorry, like I have everything mixed up in my mind. Like, no, because South Park was the one that won it, but like Star Fox characters were the reason people actually care about it. Solid game. Toys to Life aside, you didn't really need them. You could just get the DLC. I did not get the DLC, but I still had fun with that one. I'll eventually do Sushi Striker and Secret of Mana, but man, that was like the closest pull. Yo, my boy Cartman's in Starlink. Let's go. Oh my god. No, like no, that was just a mistake on my part, because it's South Park that I was talking about before Starlink, and then the Star Fox characters weren't Starlink. But yeah, closest pull out of all of them, and South Park won, so I'm good with that. Next up is T, and this one was more or less like an obvious one that was gonna win. We had Thimbleweed Park, which had 3, To the Moon, which had 2, Tales of Vesperia, which had 20, and Transistor, which had 6. What's funny is that Transistor had more votes in its poll than Bastion did in Game B, and they're from the same company, from Supergiant. And Tales of Vesperia was the one that I want to see win, and I knew that was going to win because a lot of people like that game. It doesn't matter how much people actually wanted to see me do it. To the Moon is a really sad game. I gotta do that at some point. And I've heard Thimbleweed Park was actually pretty interesting. And Transistor, since I like Bastion and I like Hades, so Hades is different, but since I like Bastion, I think I would like Transistor. But Tales of Vesperia, it took about like a month or so, like a month and a half to beat that game. That was a long one, but man, that was worth it. It was a lot of fun. I had fun with Tales of Vesperia. Great story, great characters. It was the very first Tales game I've ever beaten, and I will eventually do more Tales games at some point. When, I'm not sure. I would like to do Tales of Symphonia next. And that's on Steam. Like the remasters on Steam, I'll eventually do that. The main ones I want to do are Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss, Tales of Xillia 1 and 2, and a couple of others. But Tales of Vesperia, I would definitely recommend it to anybody. And it goes on sale all the time on like Switch and Steam and PlayStation and all that. So, because here's the thing. I watched my brother play Tales of Vesperia from start to finish on Xbox 360, because that was the console it was originally on, and he loved that game. And then like I wanted to play more of it, but he gave it back to his friend because he was borrowing it. Watch the Shell stream Symphonia and Lloyd's confirmed for Smash. We're just gonna get that costume. But yeah, Tales of Vesperia is great. Very great game. Next up, we go to the letter U. We have Unepic, which had 4 votes, Undertale, which won with 20, Unruly Heroes with 2, and Unravel 2 with 7. Unravel 2 would have been nice to have done, but I wonder if people would have been more interested if I would have played the game with another person instead of playing it by myself, because that game you could play co-op. But I don't think it has online. Unruly Heroes seemed like a fun game. On Epic, I've tried a little bit on the Wii U, and I wanted to actually do it on the Switch. That's the version I would have done. But Undertale, that was the one I really wanted to do. And boy, do I have a lot to say about Undertale. Like, I've done 3 runs. Took 6 streams to do it. But one of the runs was aborted because, oh my god, the genocide run could easily kiss my ass. I fucking hated that. Like, and I was stuck doing the Sands. Like, the first genocide run stream, I made it to Sands, and I was there for an hour. Called a stream. Next stream for it, it was like a 5-hour stream of me just being like sad, frustrated, and I felt like I was secretly calling out for help while so many people kept coming in. I was getting raided by people, and like people just coming in to watch. They really wanted to see me beat Sans, and I went into a breaking point. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm done. I'm not gonna continue with this. I'm just going to, the next Undertale stream would be the Pacifist run. That was a mistake that I made. I should not have done the genocide run at all. I was a bit curious. I shouldn't have done it. And it turns out I read what genocide run would have happened. What would happen if I would have done genocide run, and I dodged the fucking bullet because if genocide run, if I would have successfully done the genocide run, I would have had to erase my save file and start the game over again on my own, just to get myself up to pacifist. But since I decided not to go through with finishing genocide, I had to. Dude, I spent like 5 or 6 hours on Sans, and I didn't beat him. If you would have been in my shoes, dude, you would have understood how bullshit it fucking was for me. I was so like fed up. I was like done. But the reason I didn't stop sooner was because the reason why I didn't stop sooner is because of the fact that so many people were cheering me on at the time, and then because it was getting late, I was like, I just wanted to stop. I wanted to stop and go to bed. I'll just do pacifist. And I was almost like thinking I was gonna hate this game, but Pacifist Run was a huge 180. It was a huge 180, and it made me appreciate the game a lot more. But that Sans boss fight was awful. Oh my god, holy shit, never doing that again. Holy shit, never fucking doing that again. How ironic that all of your friends let you stream on the genocide run and not on the pacifist run. Could have won because you almost had him. I'm kind of glad I didn't see that. That sounded pain. It was painful. It was so painful. Oh my god. Wait until when we get to the clips portion of this. You'll see the clip. But yeah, Undertale turned out like the hype that it actually got. It earned that hype. It delivered. Fantastic game. I'm glad that I actually got to do that. And I will edit that out. Remember that time you couldn't finish Donkey Kong 64? Yeah, that was painful as well. Yet, you wonder what was also painful, Ice Pick? That one stream I did Echo the Dolphin. Which was worse, genocide run of that? That's a good question. I don't know. I would put Echo the Dolphin up there as one of the worst, but I think that I would probably do, I'll probably go with Donkey Kong 64. Cause the way that it was designed was fucking bullshit. Like the final boss fight was fucking bullshit, and everything leading up to it. Whereas Genocide Run, like, it was just like ridiculous. You're gonna do it this year? Good luck. Good fucking luck. And yet, I'm the guy that played Echo the Dolphin in one stream and fucking gave up on it because I was bored. I was not liking the game. It was so stupid. I didn't like it. I would not go back to Echo the Dolphin ever. Sorry, Dragon, but I just can't. Dari loves DK64, but he hated watching the Spiral Trilogy. Oof. Let's see. So Game V. Well, actually, let me just say real quick, like one last thing about Game U. Eventually, I would like to do Unravel 2 when I can actually manage to find a way to do co-op. I might just do it on Steam with co-op on somebody through Parsec. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'll do it at some point. Because I think that's a game that I would do with 2 people. Unravel 1, I would like to do that as well. Let's go to Game V. DK64, the punching with Chunky in the last boss fight is pure bullshit. Yes, that was the breaking point for me. Echo's family to be doomed by aliens confirmed. Okay, so Valhalla won with 12 votes. Valkyria Chronicles had 4. Vagrant Story had 7. Volgarr the Viking had 4. Unlike the other games where I had a clear winner, this one I actually had 2 games that I was thinking in my mind, like which ones I really wanted to see. There were 2 games in my mind I wanted to see win, and that was Vagrant Story and Valhalla. But I would have been cool with playing Valkyria Chronicles 1. Volgarr the Viking looked interesting, but not interesting enough to have been a priority unless people voted for it. It did get 4 votes, tying with Valkyria. And here's the funny thing, Vagrant Story was actually leading the poll for a while, and then Valhalla ended up winning. I will eventually do Vagrant Story, but Valhalla is a great game. Vagrant Story is hard to get into? Because like out of like a lot of the Square RPGs on PS1 that wasn't Final Fantasy, that was the one I really wanted to play. But Valhalla is definitely a great game. But I messed up. Like, what happened was I messed up on something to the point where I ended up getting evicted. So then I had to play the game on my own from a certain point all the way up to like a certain chapter, and I ended up just like starting the final stream off of one of the chapters so I could end up beating the game. And I ended up getting 4 different endings, like all the 4 endings you needed to get for that game. Valhalla's a great time, and it has a sequel coming out at some point, I think this year, called Nirvana, which I'm looking forward to that one. I'll eventually do Vagrant Story and Valkyria Chronicles. I'm not sure about Volgarr the Viking, but definitely I would like to do Valkyria and Vagrant. W. West of Loading, which had 3 votes. What Remains of Edith Finch, 4 votes. World of Final Fantasy Maxima, 4 votes. And the winner was The Wonderful 101 with 20 votes. I played the remastered version on Switch. It was originally on Wii U. I actually got it on Wii U, but I didn't finish it because of the fact that at the time that I was playing it, I was going through some personal issues, personal drama that was happening, and I ended up just not really going back to the game because like all the personal issues that were happening were like super overwhelming, and I didn't really feel like playing a lot of games, and it was just really bad, and I ended up just never going back. I believe I was in the 3rd chapter during that time, but then when I finally streamed The Wonderful 101, I played it, beat it, great game, fantastic. It's a shame that it doesn't really get as much respect as it should. I feel like it's one of Platinum's finer works. I'll eventually get to What Remains of Edith Finch. I'll eventually do West Loading. I don't know about World of Final Fantasy Maxima. Maybe. I always mix up Wonderful 101 with Beautiful Joe. Yeah, like I feel like it's kind of Beautiful Joe in the with Platinum flavor. Kind of like how we have Bayonetta is basically their Devil May Cry. And I'm pretty sure people are going to disagree with me on this, but I felt that Mad World was like the closest thing to God Hand for Platinum, but I will eventually stream both Mad. I would like to do Mad World again at some point, but that game needs a remaster, and I would like to stream God Hand at some point. Yeah, definitely feel you. I stopped playing Terraria after a very big argument happened with a former friend of mine, and now it's just there collecting dust. I still love the game, just not the memories associated. Right. But then I've learned, like, if there's one lesson to be learned, is any bad memories you may have that would be associated with certain games, don't let that ruin any games for you. Instead, like, maybe take a break, maybe take some time off, and then when you go back to it in a later time, that you'll appreciate it for its own merits rather than associating it with like events that would lead to some drama that you don't want to be a part of or you're in the middle of or whatever. But yeah, one of one is fantastic. Yes, more people should play it. Next up, we got X. Zeo Drifter, which had 6 votes. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which had 24, XCOM 2 with no votes, and Xanadu Next with only 1. But I forgot to mention, for Game W, Wonderful 101 was the game I wanted to see win it. For Game X, Xenoblade was definitely that one. I'm kind of surprised someone voted for Xanadu Next, honestly. Yeah. Xanadu Next was my suggestion. Yes, it was your suggestion, Icepick. And I'm glad you suggested that to me. I'll eventually stream it at some point. Same with Zeo Drifter and XCOM. But Xenoblade took about like a month and a half to finish that one. I think this one is the longest game that I've done for the Alphabet Challenge. And I can safely say that I've done all the Xenoblades. So I've done Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade X on my own. And this is the only one I've streamed. But I would like to replay Xenoblade 2, but on stream, and then eventually stream the Torna DLC. But Xenoblade Chronicles 1, easily one of the best RPGs. I think that it's better than 2 and better than X. I know people like 2 a lot, and people like Xenoblade X. I feel like Xenoblade X is different, but even with that, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is great. Yeah, I did needed a game because there was a game that was originally going to be on here that I ended up like not using instead, which I'll get to that soon. I'm going to pick a different track from Sonic. Let's see, I'll go with Metallic Madness actually, yeah. Alright, cool. Yeah, Falcom is amazing, yeah. I would like to stream some of their games at some point. But yeah, it has some really cool art. Zeo Drifter, I tried it a little bit, but I would like to go and actually do more of it at some point. And I've never played any of the XCOM games. The closest thing to that type of gameplay style was Mario plus Rabbids. So I'll do the other Xenoblade stuff, and basically, honestly, at this point, anything Monolith Soft would make, I'll just play it. Even their past games, I'll do that. Like the Xenosaga, Xenogears, Baden Kaidos, Namco x Capcom. I'll eventually like play some of their other games. Next up, we got Game Y. Alright, so with Game Y, we got Yooka-Laylee, which won with 15 votes. Ys 8, which won with 6 votes. Yoku's Island Express, which had 2 votes, and Yoshi's Woolly World with 8 votes. What's funny is that I have 1 RPG and 3 platformers, and Yooka-Laylee actually was not the game that I wanted to see win it originally. The game that I actually wanted to see win was actually Yoshi's Woolly World, mainly because I'd done Crafted World on stream, but I would like to do Woolly World. But Yooka-Laylee, I thought that it was fine. Yeah, Yoku's Island Express got the least. I was expecting to get a little more. I was expecting more for Ys 8. Okay. But Yooka-Laylee, honestly, I feel is a really good game. But I don't like the camera, and there's some pretty questionable level design. in some areas, but it's still a game worth playing. I backed it on Kickstarter. I originally, I was expecting Yoshi to win that and not Yooka-Laylee, to be honest. And if Yoshi would have won, I would have borrowed Epic Man's Wii U again just to play it on there, because I already have a copy of Yoshi's Woolly World. I would have done that. That's how I would have done it. But Yooka-Laylee, I backed it on Wii U. It was canceled. And then the announcement for Switch, so I moved my pledge to Switch. That's how I got it. But I had to wait months. I had to wait months just for the Switch version to come out. Yeah, I feel you, because I actually did get Yooka-Laylee Impossible Lair as a gift for Christmas back in 2019. And I'll eventually stream that. I heard that because everyone tells me that Yooka-Laylee The Impossible Lair is way better than the original Yooka-Laylee. Like, not even close. Oh god, that final boss, I managed to beat him a lot. I thought I would spend hours in that one, but I ended up like spending like maybe like an hour or so at most. Yooka-Laylee looks like a worse version of Banjo-Tooie. I've heard the same thing too. I've heard the exact same thing. But I still think that it's worth playing. But it's probably one of those games where you probably just play it once and that's it. And then just get ready to play Yooka-Laylee The Impossible Lair. But yeah, New Super Lucky's Tale is a way better game than Yooka-Laylee. Way better game. I'll eventually do the East games. I'll eventually do Yoshi's Woolly World. I'll do Yoku's Island Express. Yeah, I've heard her Hat in Time is really good. I'll eventually do that. And then we got the last one. Zero Escape 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Zombie U. Zwei, the Argus Adventure, and Zacky Wiki with 7. With Zacky Wiki and Zombie U, what I would have done was I would have borrowed, yeah, because like I was not sure which one was the right one. Zacky Wiki, and yeah, that was also a suggestion. Zacky Wiki and Zombie U were games that, I would have actually borrowed Epic Man's Wii U, and I would have played it. Well, in the case of Zacky Wiki, I would have had to figure out, like, where I would have got it. I probably would have just bought the game on eBay. And Zombie U, I have it on Switch. Not Switch, Wii U. So, 999, Zwei. Yeah, that's what it is, Zwei. So, with 999... I ended up like playing it through the Nonary games on Steam. And here's the thing about this. It wasn't supposed to be this game. It was supposed to be the third one, Zero Time Dilemma. Because that's the only one I've never beaten. The reason why I decided to put 999 here is because I want to be able to experience the whole thing on stream with everybody that wanted to watch me do the Zero Escape games. It would not make sense to do 3 and then just go to 1 and 2. Why not just do them in order? Just do this, because I'm going to do the second one, Virtue's Last Reward, and Zero Time Dilemma at some point. Yeah, these games and the Danganronpa games should be on Switch. You'd think they would have been on there already. Yet, the other game that the Zero Escape series creator worked on, AI, The Solemn Files, that's on Switch. And they have a new game coming out with the Danganronpa creator. I think it's the Deadly Game or something. I forgot what it's called. Oh, no, World's End Club. World's End Club, yeah. That one. That one's coming. Yeah, that one's coming out. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, 999 is definitely still incredible. The only thing I don't like about this version that I like better on the DS was the final puzzle, because the final puzzle made a lot of sense for DS, whereas the one on here on the Steam version, it's so ridiculously obvious and so ridiculously easy that I was disappointed with that. That's the only thing I was disappointed with. Otherwise, still a great game. I like the voice acting. I like the story. The puzzles, while tough, were still fun to do, especially when you figure them out. And I would definitely like recommend people to play the games. So yeah, so now we're done with I'm gonna turn off the music because the next thing we're gonna do the clips for a little bit before we do the tier list. So we're gonna do the clips because there's some moments I want to show off. So what I'll do is I am going to get rid of the scene real quick. Just give me 1 second. No. That's the whole thing. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, just the Chrome. All right, so the rankings is going to be after the clips. We're going to do some clips for now. We'll come back to the scene for the rankings in a little bit. So now we're going to do Twitch clips. Let me just bump this up. We're going to show off a few clips from each game because there's a lot of really cool moments, like the one that you actually clipped yourself, for instance. So let's see. Let me make sure the audio's good for this. Yeah. All right. If it ends up being a little low, let me know, guys. But in any case, let's start. Finally. Seriously, screw this guy. Man. Oh, that was actually a short clip. Man, good thing I'm much better with like my audio mixing compared to how I was back then. All right, let's show off another one. This happened. So what happened here is there was like some sort of a text glitch that would happen after this. What? I died. I've seen this kind of area before, but unfortunately I have to. Oh so I died, and then this happens. Like a cutscene happens, even though I died. I don't know how that happened. Killing me earlier, but that was weird. Trace, that was her apology. Yeah. I think I'll just go look for the damn key now. And also, wow. At the time, that was a really funny. I didn't know how bad my lighting was. Like it got to the point where I ended up having to use 2 lights because I was using one, and it sucks when it's dim, when it was starting to get dim, and it darkens the room to the point where like it just looks like it's super dark. I don't like that. That's why I prefer to have like multiple lights. I prefer my room to be a lot more brighter. And then I'm going to show one more from this one before I go to the next one. What the hell happened there? Go back. Like I was just playing and all of a sudden like this happens. What the hell happened there? Yeah, like I don't know how that happened, but what would have sucked is if I would have made like I don't remember like how much progress I made and how close was I to like to saving or how long it took for me to save. But yeah. Yeah, let's see. I only have one clip. I actually had to make some new clips for some of the games because I actually didn't, because at the time I wasn't as great with making clips as I am now. But I did enjoy this game. I feel like it wasn't the best game I've done with the Output Challenge, but I felt it was like middle of the road. But like out of Adult Swim's games, it was the only one that actually interests me. Because I like the puzzle aspect. But again, here, I'm just looking at this, I'm like, the lighting in my, like, my view, like my webcam, like, shit. Good thing I do it better. I'm trying to figure out when I started to do better lighting. Another raid? Oh yeah, I got I got so many raids that night. Yeah. Yeah, I got so many raids that night. Let's look at some Cuphead ones. Cuphead. What the hell? Hold on. What the hell happened here? I know I had Cuphead clips. Well, I guess I don't. I guess it doesn't want to pop up, which is weird. But you know what? What I'll do is I'll just category. Yeah, I'll just do that. Like I'll just go to Cuphead there. Hey, Zeno, thanks for the raid, dude. I'll just do it based on my channel, not just for other people's. But yeah, can any of my mods please give Zeno a shout out real quick while I look for this? Alright, Cuphead. Hey Mina, hey Zeno. Good to see you guys. Oh yeah, the Mario Party 2 stuff. Alright, Cuphead. I know I actually did all that, like Axiom Verge. Alright, here's Cuphead. Alright, take a look at this one. Hey Draco, well, thanks for that. Alright, just take a look at this part. Because this pissed me off back then. Could have gone on that platform. Wait. Because I had him, and I died at the same time. I had him. He was dead there. I had him. Hey, Darkness88, thanks for the follow. Yo, whoever's in my chat, somebody clip on that, please. Oh my god, like, that was bullshit. I hate when that happens, when you die at the same time that, like, when you beat him. That was bullshit. I did have one other clip for Cuphead. It was this one. This one took a little bit. I was on this boss for a while. And then I forgot how long it took, but this one was tough. This one was a piece of work. So I kept messing up my jumps here, falling down on my less health. Oh yeah, like this clip was actually one of the longer ones. Well, that takes care of that boss. Alright. So next up, alright, so next up we'll look at Doom clips. Let's see, Doom. Wait, I thought I had clips for Doom. That must be a mistake. I know I have clips for Doom. Yeah, and yeah, I was wearing the same shirt. That's actually pretty ironic when you think about that. Alright. Weird, because I know I have clips for Doom. Yeah, I do. I'll just scroll through here. Since I did it in ABC order. There we go. Okay, this is where I actually have better lighting. Oh, just getting right into it. Man, I miss this game. I can't wait to do Doom Eternal later this year. Damn. I'm telling the guys that I got far in this game and my save game never saved. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, this game is good. This game is really good. Alright. Let's see. Next up, we got you talk about Cuphead? Oh, yeah, that game's really good too. But I'm sorry about what happened with that. Let's see. What about, let's see. There was like a glitch one. Oh, yeah, this one over here. Fell through the world. Right here. What the hell? Yeah, there was a glitch here. Like, I don't know how that happened. And then, like, I was just stuck there. Alright, I'll do one more clip for this and then I'll move on to Epic Mickey. Is Cuphead worth going back to? Yes, it is. I love Cuphead. Alright. Fighting this final boss. Oh. Yeah, I remember, like, so many people came through just to watch me do this. What the fuck was I doing? Was that a way for me to get hype? What the hell, man? Anyway, that was Doom. I'd say so just know you're in for a swell battle. Yeah. I can totally vouch for that. Alright, so next up, Epic Mickey. which I know I had clips for that. Oh, I guess because it's one of the more recent ones. We'll just skip it then. We'll come back to it because I have some stuff. Actually, let me Epic Mickey. I want to check real quick. All right. Oh well, I guess I'll just go to Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, Twitch needs to fix this. They really need. Yeah, Twitch is being wonky as usual. Yeah. Yeah, they really got to fix a lot of this shit. I'll just scroll. I think I'll just stick to scrolling through here. All right, Final Fantasy VII. I do have only one clip for this. Well, I actually have another one, but this one right here. Omni/. I can't take a picture. I want to take a picture of this cool moment. The Omni/. Oh, I was actually posing there, like with the Buster Sword. I find that to be ridiculous that I did that.
Better character model for this fight. Of course they did.
Yeah,
nope, you're not allowed to capture the sequence without a capture card because thanks Square.
Yeah, that's right. You could not do that. You
guys got to see it through the stream with me.
Yeah, because Square, like, you couldn't do that here. You couldn't you couldn't also like record video footage of like the scene where like Aerith, well, you know what? Okay, so let's check out this Hyper Light Drifter clip over here. I got a first try. Oh, let's look at that. I gotta look at that.
Wow. That's actually the easiest boss, and I beat him on my first try, too.
I did, yeah.
Because I had a really hard time with the second boss in the west. The west area. Like, wow.
Oh, yeah, I did.
First try.
This game was fun. Alright. Let's see, Iconoclast. I'll just put this one and that's it. Oh wait, oh right, that's right, because I had Iconoclast clips because it was attached to Smash, and they originally had the, long story short, Twitch had this thing where like if you did not change a category, or sometimes like if you clip after the fact, it will count as like whatever game was in there first, and I don't know why that's the case. So all the Iconoclast clips, for whatever reason, Smash, because I messed up on that. So, all right, let's just go to. Wait, I passed the Jet Set Radio. When the game says no, let's take a look at that. Let's just check this one out.
Well, and now I'm playing Jet Set Radio.
The final area.
I'm in the final level. What?
Oh yeah, this shit.
Thank you for that raid, Josh.
Yeah, because that's what happened. Oh, there's still more.
Hope you guys had fun playing some Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, because when I was doing this, and then something happens.
What?
I was pissed that time.
What? Wow.
Yeah, that was complete bullshit. I don't know, like I was hoping to get it in time and then quickly escape, and then no, that the game says no. All right, so next up was like Oh yeah, and some games like they actually changed the categories or removed them altogether. Like they took out all the Jackbox Party Pack ones and replaced it with Jackbox Party Packs. I kind of wish you could just like edit the clips so that you can actually like add like fix the category. Let's see. All right, Mario plus Rabbids. Let's show that off. Oh yeah, for whatever reason this game had issues with the capture card. Only this one. And this audio was very low. And no one told me anything that the audio was low at the time. But this game was awesome. This game was good.
I can't believe they
really fun.
Mario Kart.
They did reference Mario Kart. I actually like this boss a lot. It's actually one of my favorite bosses in the game.
Oh my god.
Alright. That was like the main part that I wanted to show off. Alright. Let's see. The Wind Waker stuff, I'll get to it when I get to it. So did I had any new Super Lucky's Tale stuff? Oh, I actually clipped it much later on. All right. I'll show off this one from Okami. So Okami over here.
Laugh like you normally do. Looking like that is what makes monsters turn up. So come on, laugh. Laugh like you do when you help me harvest the rice every year.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like, I think the dialogue was ridiculous in this part. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that.
Oh yeah, I guess I thought it was funny back then. Alright, next up, I'll do one more clip. Actually no, I'll just go straight to Phoenix Wright.
His founder and CEO named it so. So, his first name is Red, his last name is White, and he named his company after the color blue. America.
And
why, you ask?
I mean, it was because, like, considering the fact that that's what they did, like, because it was red, white, and blue. I thought it was a weird joke, but you know, it's whatever. Did I have any other Phoenix Wright ones? I think I'll go with this one right here. Let me see what this one was about.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. Yo, Elite M&A, good to see you, buddy. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. The most important part? And thank
Look
you
at this.
for the tier 1 sub for 7 months.
Oh, this is from the last chapter.
This next testimony might just be the moment of truth.
Oh god, yeah, I remember her. I think this might have been like a clip where like somebody clipped it and then like there was like a resub. Can't forget about the legendary John Doe. Yes, the legendary John Doe. Okay, let's move through. I actually do have one more I want to show off. Like, let me check this one out over here. Let me see what this one was.
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything.
I think this was still from the last case.
Indeed? Very well then. Please tell us. Yeah, fuck that jar. Holy fuck, that was a stupid thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a stupid thing. Yes.
The witness saw the jar.
All right. Now let me just go straight to the next thing. All right. Of course, this was a very, very infamous one for Resident Evil.
Holy shit.
This is still pretty funny.
What the fuck?
Because, okay, so here's the context for this one.
That's what you wanted to see?
Epic Man wanted me to do this. He say, hey, Shell, why don't you go ahead and shoot in the lake? And I'm like, okay. Didn't hurt. And then that's what happened. Good thing I saved after, like, before that, but still, that was definitely like a good one. And then we had this. Fighting against the Bella sisters.
It's not hard. Oh, I could get both of you at the same time.
This is like the best moment of the stream where that asshole came in and was trying to ruin it for me, but
did I
this
get
is like
both
the best
of them at once?
Yeah, I got both of them at once.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I did get both of them at once. Yeah, Resident Evil had some really good moments. And this is another good one here too. Like,
come over here.
And like he was popping up with the shield for whatever reason.
Nice, I got both of them.
Got them both. Got them both. Right off the bat at once. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a really good shot.
It was a really good shot though. Like I really like that. I'm really glad that I did that. Alright, so do I have any more for Resident Evil, or that might have been it? No, I still have more. I want to show off at least like one more clip for Resident Evil before moving on to the next one, which I don't know. Do I have any South Park clips? Okay. Oh, this is from Mercenaries. Right after I beat the game, I just got the. I did this. Yes, this. Wow. I remember that now. Man, Mercenaries mode was so fun. Like that was like a little bonus for after beating the game.
Shit, man.
I wouldn't mind going back to Mercenaries in this game. I do want to try out the Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries at some point. All right. Any South Park ones? I guess I'll show this one off. Let me see this one. Like, what was this one about? Oh, that's right. Like the souped up Professor Chaos. This part.
Why fight one Craig when you can fight 5?
Right, this. The multiple Craigs. I think I mainly clipped this part. Oh no, someone clipped it for me, but I guess they wanted to clip the Professor Chaos part. I think that's why. Alright, how about this one? Flynn for Smash? Let me actually take a look at this one.
Stop! All of you! Sheath your blades! Sheath them! I am Flynn Shifo of the Imperial Knights. I have come bearing a letter from Master Yoder.
Yes, you're gonna be the next playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You're gonna be in the Fighters Pass DLC.
I'll say this. If they recreate this scene so that they can give Yuri Lowell the Smash invitation, I would actually be hyped for that. I don't know if they'll do that, but that would actually be funny. Let's see. Alright, so okay, alright. One more for Tales of Vesperia and then on to Undertale.
Has it been since we fought like this?
We fought in the Coliseum. You forget already?
Of course not. Just, you know.
This was a fun fight.
Stuff has happened. It's just different.
Yeah. It feels different for me too.
I wonder what it is.
Does it matter? I am so gonna
I love how like they're still like having that little banter despite the fact that we both have been just fighting each other like that. But then Flynn just does that shit on me. Do I do anything else?
So he blocked my Mystic art, but he managed to get me with his.
Watch it be the exact same clip where the heroes from Dragon Quest series rise in the battle except it's Yuri Lowell. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think they would probably do something completely different, and they'll probably go to the Namco Tales studio to get some help for that. Oh, this was a short clip.
A ton.
I think Enigma was the one that clipped it, so Enigma, thank you for that. A small taste of hell. Oh god, oh god, oh god. And I was wearing the same shirt too. Oh god.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck? What the fuck?
That was basically how I did it. Like, it was like, it's one of those moments where like, it begins.
What the fuck?
Me having to face against Sans. Do I have any more? Oh no, that's actually the Big Express Justice for All. Never mind. What about let me see this one over here. Oh, wait.
Fuck.
Wait, let me put that again.
Fuck.
Yeah. And I didn't want to yell too loud because during this time it was super late. And I didn't want to wake my mom up. Otherwise I would have yelled very loud. Like louder than that. Man, I was really pissed. Like, you could see my mood. Like, if I wasn't pissed yet, I was getting there. I was definitely getting there. And it was hot that day too. Like, it was super, like, I think it was like one of the hottest days of that summer. Alright. Oh, we got some Valhalla clips. We'll show we'll show some of that.
Gut punch. And he wants it big. I want to give him a gut punch, all right? You want a
No, I
gut
did
punch?
not.
I will gladly give you a gut punch. And it's good. I'm going to hit you right where it hurts. And before you know it, when you wake up, you're going to be coming back asking for more.
What the
That's how
fuck?
the gut punch is going to be made. I'll gladly mix that for you.
I guess I hated this character so much.
Okay. You want big? I'll make it big.
I guess I hated this character so much that I wanted to hit him with like a really hard drink. That he would feel it the next morning.
I'm not going to change anything from this, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Time to mix drinks and change lives.
I was just like
Welcome to
starting up the
Valhalla.
next portion, and then this
I'm looking for
happens.
some information. What the fuck? Is that George Costanza? Is that really George
It
Costanza?
actually is.
Holy shit. Wow.
It kind of is,
I
yeah.
to see him in this game. Wow. It's George Costanza. Oh my god.
Yeah, because this was a reference to when like he would have this persona called Art Vandalay, and they decided to reference that here, but they made him into a detective in this. All right, what the? I'm talking to our brain here.
Evening. What?
This game is something else
That's
entirely.
a brain. That's a walking brain. What? Are you serious? It's a brain. I'm talking to a brain here.
Yeah, I was talking to a walking talking brain.
I'm talking to a brain here.
Exactly, I was. That actually psyched me out because I was not expecting that. And there is one more thing for this game I want to show off before I move on to a couple of more clips. This happens.
We get to see Jill's face. Look at this.
Music's good though. Music's really good for this game.
Hardly. The bartending station only works with me. I see. Okay then. I move this here. What the? What the?
Yep,
Did you just see that? Did you see that? What the hell was that? Holy shit. Wow.
This game has so many things that
Oh,
are completely
man.
unexpected. This game is so unpredictable. It's funny. I enjoyed my time with Valhalla. Like, I would like to. I can't wait to play the sequel to it. All right. Where is Wonderful 101? Wonderful 101. I guess I'll show just if I have to show just one clip of Wonderful 101, it's this one. I was trying to figure out where to go, and that happens. This was a really good clip. But that moment sucked. Alright, alright, let me see what I have for Xenoblade. I think I should have some. Alright, not that one. Let me. Oh, no. I guess this. Oh, that's Resident Evil. No. I guess I'll go with this one. No. Yeah, this one. Inflict break during a chain attack. That bathroom break was a little too short. Seems sus. Were you faking the bathroom task again? I think that was you who said that to me.
This last night, and I'm doing it again. Last night, I really needed to go badly. This, not so much. When nature calls, nature calls. I guess that makes me very sus for just like having to deal with going to bathroom breaks all. Yeah, I was just responding to you, but I think I had a bunch. But I wanted to show up one more thing for Xenoblade. I know I have some more stuff for Xenoblade, like much later on. Yeah, I'll go with this one. And oops, I did not mean to hit that. Can I hit back on this? All right, let me just quickly go to the dashboard, and then I'm gonna go and. I did not mean to do that. I fucked up. Yeah, that was clip worthy. Alright, Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles. I guess I'll go with this one. This is much later in the game. Getting closer to the final part of it. Why it's not coming on a Switch?
I was wondering what game was it?
It's EA. Shouldn't really be surprised.
Wait, what game was it again? I was talking about. No. Oh yeah, this happens, and then I accidentally fall in here. This grape soda shit.
I did not mean to do that.
The poisonous grape soda, yeah. Alright. Now let's look for some ukulele. I'll just look for ukulele. I actually got a lot of clips for ukulele. Let's look at this one right here. We'll just look at one. Just one. And then we'll look at...
And this one is... Wait.
I was still surprised I managed to get that.
Did I just licked it out and got it?
I did.
Okay, I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain. Oh my god.
But let me just take a look at this one more time because I want to see something. Yep,
Wait.
It was totally a glitch. Alright. So, Zero Escape. Oh, Zeno, thank you for the gifted sub to Mina. Thank you for that. Alright, let's look at this one right here.
Here and here.
What the hell is a Funya Rimpa?
What do you mean? What the hell is a Funya Rimpa? You mean you don't know?
How the hell would I know?
Yes.
Not know.
Oh god.
That's practically blasphemous. Oh, say you're sorry. Apologize to the Funya Rimpa. Goodness.
Oh my god. Alright. And one more, and then we will after we do one more, we'll just do the tier list. So the last one I want to pick. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to show this one off. And put this right here. What if I put that 5 there? That's not right. If I were to take this out, switch places with those two. I need to share this to Fangirl so that she could see this.
Really?
That was one of the luckiest guesses I've ever made for a game like this.
What?
Big brain
What?
indeed.
You serious? No. No. There we go. All pins inserted. All lights lit. How did I...
Like, I wasn't even using a guide. I just got it.
Unfucking believable. No, I just...
That was incredible for me to do that. All right. I think that's all the Twitch clips I wanted to show off. There was one for Epic Mickey I wanted to show off, but I couldn't find it, so it's whatever. So that ends that portion. Let me just fix the Chrome thing real quick. All right, there we go. All right, what I'll do is I am going to now do the tier list. So everybody that wanted to watch the tier list, guess what? Here we go. So I made this tier list just to make sure that I have like all the games here, like A to Z. And I'm doing it from like S being the highest and F being the lowest. And I was gonna do them. I was gonna originally do all of them like in order of how long it would take. I'm gonna go find some music first real quick before we do this. Just give me 1 second. All right, I know I'm gonna go for. All right, there we go. Now let's do it. Okay, so to start things off, we're I'm gonna get one thing out of the way. Quest of Dungeons F, but it's my least favorite out of all of them. It gets an F. I just want to get that out of the way. Anyone that knows me knows I did not like. I mean, I don't hate the game, but I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it at all. So it's gonna go there. So Quest of Dungeons is an F. Okay. Axiom Verge is such a fantastic game. It gets an S. Easily one of the best Metroid style games I've ever played. And well worth anyone's time. So of course I have to put it there. It's definitely one of the top games I've done for the Alphabet Challenge. Started off very strong too. Let's see, Battleship Brigade. I'm gonna give it a C. It was a decent game, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. I had fun with it. I had some fun, but there's much better games out there. But I did enjoy it, and I think that it was good. I'm actually gonna switch this to presentation mode. Oh good, it keeps the games the way they are. Alright. Axiom Verge is a great time, but it had some puzzles that are a bit too hard. Yeah, they do. Alright. But Battleship Brigade had some really good stuff. Was Quest of Dungeons just boring, or did I actually play badly? It was more boring than bad. That's the thing, it was more boring. At least with a bad game, you can, like, you'll get a really good reaction out of me, whether it being like a good reaction or a bad one.
but it was probably the most boring game in the Alpha Challenge. I just really needed to fill the queue slots badly. But yeah, Battle Shepherd game was fun. I had some fun with it. Cuphead. Let's see. I really enjoyed the game a lot. It was great. It was fantastic. I'll put on S. Right here. Easily a great, like one of my favorite games. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad everybody that voted for it got to witness me play it. Really good stuff. Great references to classic cartoons. Great references to some of the video games out there. Mainly the RNG is what bothered me in Axiom Verge. Like, I did so much digging when I ran in my special worlds, and I only managed to find 2, both of which didn't have the hidden weapon, so I just went for base completion. Honestly, I like the run and gun levels of Cuphead more than boss fights. Yeah, like, I like the boss fights a lot. If there was ever a sequel, I hope they have more run and gun stuff. I want to see what the DLC is gonna have. You feel the opposite? I like them both a lot. I want to see what they'll do for the delicious last course. Okay. Doom goes here. I'll put it here. One of the best games I've ever played. Like, one of the best, like, first-person shooter adventures. We'll see. We'll see. I hope it comes out this year. We'll see. But yeah, Doom is amazing. Even though I played it on Switch, I'm sure I know it's definitely a lot better on other platforms, but still, Doom, what a fun time. I love it. Definitely like one of the most fun I had, like, for shooters like that. And I am kind of curious on how Doom VR would be, but I don't really do VR, so there's that. Probably PS5 and Xbox Series X, and you get a free upgrade if you own it on PS5 or, like, Series X. But I think no, Stadia is still around. It's just there's a lot of things. The studio, their original studio, like, shut down. Sure, it runs a bit bad on Switch, but handheld Doom is amazing. Yeah, that's the thing. Taking Doom with you on the go is definitely, like, the reason why I wanted a Switch. Also, gyro controls. It originally wasn't there for the start, but they added gyro controls later on. And man, I had a great time with Doom. Epic Mickey's gonna get a C. Actually, I like it, but not enough. I'll give it a D, actually. The camera controls and the Mad Doctor fight. The Mad Doctor fight was awful. Like, it should have been designed so much better. I like all the references, the Disney references, like all the classic Mickey Mouse shorts as well. All the other stuff. I do think that the best fight in the game is the Captain Hook, but I did not like the Mad Doctor fight at all. Like, that was so awful. The final boss fight was much better. Like, it was actually a well-balanced boss. But Epic Mickey in general, I thought was nice. Yeah, it was gonna be more grittier. That's what they originally planned on, but Disney ended up, like, not doing that. I still enjoyed it. Alright, so next up is Final Fantasy VII. I'll give it an A. I'll give it an A because I really did enjoy the story. I like a lot of the characters, but the gameplay, like, I know it's turn-based RPG, it's still really good, but the game does not look that great. The visuals did not hold up well. Like, other Final Fantasy games definitely look better on PlayStation 1 than that. But I enjoyed
my time with Final Fantasy VII. Epic Mickey looked like a good game, but I could never bring myself to pay full price for it, and I can't find a good price for it now either. I actually got Epic Mickey for $3 at a GameStop, because I was hanging out with friends, and then we decided to go to GameStop while getting food, and then I found Epic Mickey for $3. And I felt it was worth it, just for $3. But still, I guess I was probably nicer to the game because it was $3. But that was that. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, I enjoyed my time with it. So for me, personally, it's an A. Next up is Guacamelee, Super Triple Champion Edition. As much as I like this game, I'm gonna give it a B. As much as I like the game, I'm gonna give it a B. I'm sure the sequel's way better than that. But the game itself is definitely a lot of fun. Going through like the South Mexico setting with Lucha Libre characters, it has some really good ideas. I'm looking forward to playing the sequel later this year. Hyperlight Drifter will also get a B. No, I'm gonna put Hyperlight Drifter before, well, like right over here, like after Guacamelee. Has some really good stuff. Yeah, like I would say like Guacamelee is like closer to a B+. Hyperlight Drifter is just like a regular solid B. The music is very moody, fits the mood of the game. I like how the overall art style of the game looks, what they were going for. The action, the combat, really good. So I'll give it a B. Iconoclast, C. I'll put it under Battleship Brigade. Game is good. It's not great, but it's good. The story is forgettable, predictable. It's kind of meh. Gameplay is what makes the game for it, though. And like the graphics are pretty nice for it too. So I'll give it a C. Jet Set Radio, A. Let me just put it right here. The Jet Set Radio gets an A. Super fun. Be glad KI isn't here to hear this. Oh boy, I was like I just think Iconoclast is a decent game. Like it's not like amazing. Jet Set Radio, yes, A. That gets an A, and I put it above Final Fantasy VII. Great arcade fun, can pick it up any day. Yes, exactly. Not only that, but the music. Gameplay was the only good part? But ranked it a C. Because the story was just like, meh. I didn't like the story for the game as much. But for Jet Set Radio, everything about it was like really good. It lived up to my expectations when I played it, because I never played it before until I streamed it, and I'm glad that I actually got to experience it. Yeah. Katana Zero? Where do I put Katana Zero at? I'm gonna give it an A, but I'm gonna put it right over here. There's so much what the fuck moments with that game. A lot of blood. There's a lot of drama in the game. There's a lot of action. But I thought it was fun. It was a fun ride. The main character is an asshole, and that's what makes him interesting. Overall, Katana Zero is definitely something I can recommend to people. Great stuff. Yeah, because it was Jet Grind Radio for Dreamcast, but I think it was called Jet Set Radio in Japan, and then they just kept it as that name ever since. Next up is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Better game than Final Fantasy VII. And I'm going to make so many Final Fantasy VII super fans like upset with me about this, but I think Wind Waker is a much better game. I mean, I already think Ocarina of Time's a much better, like a way better game than Final Fantasy VII, as honestly. But Wind Waker is so good. Like, whatever hate that game got back in the day was hugely overblown. But that being said, I know I played the HD version, but to me, I feel as if that, yeah, a lot of people will probably agree with that at this point, because there are people who seem to like other ones. Unsub, block, reported, unfiled. No, but I really like Wind Waker HD. Had a great time with it. While sailing, bosses were easily like really good. Some of the best bosses in any of the Zelda games. The dungeons were really good. Also, the other thing I really like were some of the original characters this game had. I liked it. I liked them a lot. Only drawback of Wind Waker is the low dungeon count. Yeah, there weren't as many dungeons, but the ones they had were really good. But yeah, Wind Waker was great. And if I would ever replay that game on my own, I would. Next up is Mario plus Rabbids. I'll put it right over here. It gets a B. Really good sense of humor this game has. The strategy gameplay is actually interesting. It's fun. And mixing the two worlds together was... I know back when like it was leaked, a lot of people were skeptical, but then when people actually got to play it, it's a lot of fun. No business being as good as it is, but it is. I would like a sequel, but I still got to do the DLC at some point. I feel like if there's any complaint I have about Mario plus Rabbids, I feel like they should have added like maybe like one more world. Because like there was like a few worlds in the game. I wish they would have added one more world to the base game. I feel like the final boss fight was a bit of a drag. Creative, but a bit of a drag. And the music's really good. But other than that, I enjoyed my time with it. I'm gonna switch scenes real quick so I can pick the next track. I'm gonna go with this one. Alright, there we go. Okay. Next up, New Super Lucky's Tale. That game gets a B. I'll put it over here. So, can't blame people for being skeptical. A Mario game by Ubisoft that includes the shovelware rabbits must be bad. Yeah, of course, people had every right to be skeptical about that. New Super Lucky's Tale gets a B. Actually, I'm gonna put it a little higher than both these games. I really like this game a lot. More than I thought I would. I never expected Mario plus Rabbids to be so good. When I think Rabbids, I think bargain bin games and find a target. Exactly. New Super Lucky's Tale, because it was originally like a VR game, I believe, and then it was on PC as Lucky's Tale. Then there was the Xbox game Super Lucky's Tale, and then you got this, and then they ported the Switch version to all the other platforms. Which, no matter what platform you play it on, I would really hope that... Yeah, Super Lucky's Tale was also on PC? Okay. I thought it was just Lucky's Tale on PC, but okay. No matter what platform you play this game on, it's a lot of fun. I really like all the 3D levels more than the 2D levels, but the 2D levels were pretty good. If you buy New Super Lucky's Tale on PC, you still get Super Lucky's Tale? And yet people who own Super Lucky's Tale got a free upgrade? That's actually really cool. That was cool of them to do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's like if you already have the original one, then you get that. That's actually good. I would say to people, play New Super Lucky's Tale. It's fun. Really, really nice 3D platformer.
Though I do think the camera control here may be a bit like wonky, but I like it better here than I do on ukulele. Way better than Epic Mickey too. Like no Epic Mickey versus like New Super Lucky Sales camera control, night and day indeed. All right, Okami. I fucking love this game so much. I love Okami so much. Yes. I believe to me, I think it's like one of the best, like, the best type of Zelda-style games. People say it's better than Twilight Princess, right around the time both games came out around the same time. I have not played Twilight Princess, so I can't vouch. But man, I really do like this. Okay, maybe I might actually be hasty about where I place this. I'll put this behind Doom, but I'll definitely have it right here. Still, I'll have Okami on S. I really did like this game a lot. If I had any complaints, is that there's a few sections about the game, without like saying anything for anyone that hasn't played it, there's a few sections about the game that feel a little bit bloated, but not bloated enough where it's like a huge like deal. It's just a minor nitpick. But I feel like there's a section of the game where once you beat like a specific boss, I feel like it could just end there, and then like the rest of the game could be like a sequel. But no, they put it all in one. And yeah, I like this game a lot. Okami's great. Okami's like fantastic. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And this is just the first game of the series. A. I'll put Phoenix Wright on A. Like, great characters, great setting, great stories, a lot of really cool sense of humor. I really like all the mechanics the game had to offer. And honestly, it was a lot of fun. The only reason why it's up here and not up here is because it's just the first game. If it would have been like the third game, would be like much higher. I already put Quest of Dungeons on F because I don't really need to say much about that one. For R is Resident Evil 4. Of course, I was going to put it up there. Resident Evil 4 is fantastic. Resident Evil 4 has some really good action, like some of the best action in any other Resident Evil games. And they have some really good bosses, really good characters. The voice acting is amazing, except for, well, not amazing. The voice acting is great, except for Ashley. Oh, Leon! Ashley is definitely something else with that. Like, she is, like, I know she annoys a lot of people, but it could have been so much worse. And the Mercenaries mode is fantastic. I like the Mercenaries mode. Overall, this game is definitely worth it. Next up is South Park: The Stick of Truth. I'll put it on B. I wish they re-implemented the Japanese version of Ashley's segment into the later games. They gave her classic Resident Evil camera in the Japanese version. I didn't know that. That's actually interesting. I'll put South Park in B. I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's like Paper Mario, but in the South Park universe in terms of gameplay. And the story is basically what you would expect out of South Park. But I feel as if that while the game is great, I feel like it was a little bit too short for what I was hoping for. I heard the second game, like the Fractured Butthole, is a lot longer, which I'm looking forward to doing that. I think I might like that game better, but we'll see. But I've enjoyed South Park: The Stick of Truth just enough to put in B, but it's more closer to B+. Undertale. Okay, here's the thing. Even though in Undertale, I ended up going through the whole thing, the whole spiel with the whole genocide run and how I hated that. It's still one of the best games because like with doing the pacifist run was worth it. Well fucking worth it. What would you say was a sticking point for the game? For what, South Park? I don't know where do I start with that. Or you're talking about Undertale. Making a joke, but yeah, I'll have to think about that one. And I just realized before, I guess I'll just do Undertale, but I skipped Tales of Vesperia. I'll go to Tales of Vesperia in a minute. But yeah, Undertale, I'm going to put it on S, but like right around here. Like I still think Resident Evil 4 and Doom and Cuphead are like definitely up there. But Undertale is like fantastic, even with the genocide run, because Pacifist actually makes it up completely. Tales of Vesperia will get an A. A fantastic JRPG. I'll put it over here. What's this? I put Tales of Vesperia above Final Fantasy VII. You damn right I did. I did put Tales of Vesperia above Final Fantasy VII. I still remember people on GameFAQs having a meltdown about Undertale when the greatest game poll only happens every 5 years over the constant winner Ocarina of Time. Yeah, because I remember the Undertale fan base worked on that one. Just like how I remember, there was like a character poll where the League of Legends fan base all colluded to get the character Draven to win, and he ended up winning that. But yeah, Tales of Vesperia, great JRPG. Had a lot of fun with it. Great story, great gameplay, great music. It was my first Tales game that I've actually beaten, and I'm looking forward to playing more. It goes on sale a lot, so hopefully people get a chance to play it. Alright, Valhalla. Valhalla is going to get... It's going to get a B. I'll put it over here. There's some questionable shit about Valhalla, like some dialogue that I'm not going to get into, but what I will get into is that the game is great, the game is fantastic, and the music is really good, but I feel as if that some of the stuff you have to actually like, you have to make sure not to mess up the drinks. You have to know exactly what people are gonna want, and once you do, like it's very satisfying, like being a bartender, mixing drinks while having conversations, some really good conversations. But like the story just goes off the rails when it comes to like what goes on within the area, because like you're in the future, but it's still enjoyable. I still like Valhalla. I like the characters, I like the settings. Looking forward to the sequel. Wonderful 101 is going to get an A. Wonderful 101 is great. Like, great time. One of the better games Platinum has worked on. And I know it has a steep learning curve, but it's still worth it. It's rewarding. Has a lot of fun characters. Like my favorite is probably like Wonder Green, like the cook. Like he's one of my favorites. I know people like some of the other like Wonder numbers, And I wanted Wonder Red for Smash, but I'm at this point, like, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I'm honestly happy that this whole, like, Wonderful 101, like, Switch version didn't even happen at all, though they also made a PC and PS4 version because Nintendo sold the IP rights back to Platinum. But now Nintendo owns the Astral Chain IP, so that's something completely different. But yeah, Wonderful 101 is great. Alright, next up is Xenoblade Chronicles. I'll put it over here. Next to Doom, between Doom and Cuphead. I really did like this game a lot. Like, this may have been the longest game, but I fucking love Xenoblade Chronicles. I really do. I really think that this has, like, some of the best, like, RPG mechanics. Like, the Xenoblade series has, like, better RPG mechanics than modern or even classic Final Fantasy. And not only that, I really like the characters and the music, but this game is great. This game's amazing. I'm glad that I got to do this. I never played this. I never finished it on the Wii, and I never finished it on 3DS, but I finished it on Switch. Ukulele's gonna get a C, like a lower C. Ukulele is a C- at best to me. My issue with the game is the fact that the camera controls and some of the level designs are not really all that great, and the final boss is kind of like so-so, like not really all that special to me. But I like a lot of the other characters, and I hope to play Ukulele in the Impossible Air at some point. But as it stands, Ukulele is just okay. Solid platformer. New Super Lucky Still's better. Now here's the shocker. Where will I place 999? Here's the shocker. Where am I putting it at? Yep. I really fucking love this game. I know the sequels are better. I know they are. Or at least the second one is, but I don't know about, I can't say so much about, Zero Time Dilemma. We'll put, this one. Yes, this is a shock. Zero Escape 999. And overall, like one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, they nailed it with that game and also the sequels. Well, I still gotta play the Zero Time Dilemma. I'll eventually get to Zero Time Dilemma at some point. I'm sure that people are gonna be shocked as to where some of the games actually like ended up on the list versus the ones that like did ended up. I'm definitely going to be saving this list for myself, but this is my tier list. So, Quest of Dungeons is easily like the weakest game, the most boring game out of all of them. Epic Mickey is kind of like, it was alright, but it's just has some issues that I can't really look past. Then you got these games over here. I enjoyed Iconoclast a little bit, but not enough to actually put it higher. Same thing with Battleship Brigade and Ukulele. But yeah, New Super Lucky's Tale is such a fantastic platformer, much better than Ukulele. Jet Set Radio deserves more respect. So many great games on here. This was a great challenge. I'm glad I got to do it. And I do appreciate everybody that has voted for every single game on this Alphabet Challenge. And now the big question is, would I ever do the Alphabet Challenge again? And the answer to that question is yes, I would. but not for a long time. The reason why not for a long time is because I do have plans for the future. So let's talk about that future, shall we? So, the next segment that I'm going to be doing is called the Backlog Fantasy, where backlog never ends. Because my backlog is so big that it's a fantasy to actually finish it. I had so many different names that I planned out for this. And, I'm actually going to kill the music. Since I don't need it for this. Alright. Because, here's the thing. Backlog Fantasy... The way it's gonna work is I'll pick the games, and the channel points redemptions are gonna get an overhaul for that. And any game that was a part of the People's Choice or Pick Your Poison after their initial streams for those will end up here as well. But I had so many different names that I originally had planned for Backlog Fantasy. Instead of that, most of them were either taken or like I felt didn't quite roll the tongue. So I decided to settle with this. And it's going to be happening in April. Like at the end of the stream, I will like reveal what it is, like through like a video that I have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this because I have a big backlog that needs to be beaten. And it will not be beaten, and I'm getting back into using backloggery as a way to keep track of all the stuff. So like I've been redesigning my backloggery, getting back on track with that, and I'm going to be going ahead and working on my backloggery page. Going to be using that, and I'm going to make sure to keep track on all the games that I'm doing, and that's practically it for that. Now, as far as games that were originally going to be part of the Alphabet Challenge that ended up not making it in, let's talk about that for a little bit. So, and because there's plenty of them, games that I've planned but never quite made it in. All right. Some of these games I did stream, and other games I haven't yet. So let's talk about them. So, Paper Mario was originally going to be on the Game P poll. But the reason I decided against... I took it out when I was having Wii U overheating issues coming up again. So I was originally going to put Paper Mario 1, but decided to take it out. So I will do Paper Mario 1 again. Well, Paper Mario 1 at some point. When? I don't know. Super Mario Sunshine. I originally was going to have it as part of the Game S poll, but decided against it. I did stream it, and I've already beaten the game, but I decided against it. I was like, you know what? For the S poll, I'm not going to have any Mario or Sonic stuff. And the Sonic game that was originally going to be a part of that was Sonic Lost World. But I decided that instead of having it there, I was going to save it for like when I do like the Sonic celebration for this year. So I decided instead I'll just do it there. Now, here's the interesting thing about the game R poll. It was originally going to be an all Resident Evil poll. So Resident Evil 4 was always going to be there, but I was originally going to have Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 7, and Resident Evil 1 remake, in addition to Resident Evil 4. But decided, you know what? I feel like I think I'm just gonna take out all those Resident Evil games, just have one, and put other games on there. And the one I wanted to keep was 4. So R was gonna originally be an all Resident Evil poll, but decided that no. I think that was not a good idea to do that, and I'm glad I did not go through with that. I have since played Resident Evil 1 remake, and I've beaten that. Nier Automata was actually going to be on the Game N poll, but I decided to take it out because I was not confident enough in the game running well on my PC, so I decided against that. And A Boy and His Blob was originally going to be in the... I was not sure if it would be on the game A poll or game B poll, and I've asked people for feedback, and they told me it would have been better suited for game B, because like A Boy and His Blob, like the title of it, like saying A with just the letter A, say like A Boy, is the same thing as like D Boy. Like for example, if it was The Boy and His Blob, like that's the same, like you don't count the for T, just like you don't count A for A, like it would have been a game B game. But I kind of like lost interest and wanted to do it. I decided to take it out. Which version of A Boy and His Blob would I play? It would have been the Steam version, which is like the remastered version of the Wii game. That's what it would have been. No More Heroes was on the end poll as well, but I took it out because of the Wii U overheating issues. But now I'm currently streaming No More Heroes because I'm playing on Switch. So at least now I'm actually getting to play No More Heroes. And now here's one thing that's interesting. I considered doing a single player story mode for a fighting game. And the fighting game that I considered was Dragon Ball FighterZ. That was going to be on the game D poll. Because this was around the time when I was starting to plan out what games I would like to put in for the Alphabet Challenge, and I wasn't thinking about how I wanted to format the Alphabet Challenge. Took it out, decided against it, but like doing a fighting game playthrough for the Alphabet Challenge would not fit what I ended up going for. So I decided not to do it. Fighting game stories for new series. Yeah, I ended up just not going through with it. Not sure if anybody would have been interested in seeing me do Dragon Ball FighterZ story mode either. Then again, I did do the racing story mode for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. But not in the Alpha Challenge, but I did do that. Wolfenstein: The New Order and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus were originally going to be on the Game W polls. I decided against Wolfenstein: The New Order because I lacked the confidence in my PC actually running it. And Wolfenstein 2, I wanted to do Wolfenstein 1 first. Like the Wolfenstein New Order first. So eventually I'll do Wolfenstein The New Order. And then Wolfenstein The New Colossus. Maybe Youngblood as well. Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma. Because I want to do 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors first. Before I did the other games in the series. Next up is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I was originally going to put that as part of the game D poll, but decided against it. Though, thanks to Shad for the People's Choice, he ended up choosing that game for me, and I ended up doing that. And then months later, I ended up going back to it to finish it, and I did. So I did Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Eventually. Trials of Mana 2020. Which I scrapped it because I didn't get the game by the time the T game poll was coming out. T game poll was coming up. Like I ended up scrapping it because I wasn't gonna get the game anytime soon. At the time, like I didn't want to order from Amazon because it was slow, and GameStop was not open. Neither were Best Buy. And this was around the time like the pandemic was at like a huge peak here in New York City. Beautiful Joe. This is like one of the saddest reasons. Not really a sad reason, but like more like one of the whoops reasons. I forgot to put Beautiful Joe in the poll. It was going to be in the Game V poll, and I forgot. And I realized it after I did the poll and after it went up live. But it was too late for me to change it because people were already voting. So I'm like, oh well, I guess it's not going to be on there then. That was my mistake. Beautiful Joe almost made it to the Game V poll, and I forgot. That's my fault right there. I'll do Beautiful Joe 1 and 2 at some point. And the DS game. Next up is Ice Pick. You might actually be a little bit disappointed with me on what I'm about to say, but I was originally going to put Oniken on the on the game O poll, but the reason I decided against it is because after I played Katana Zero and beat it in one sitting, I didn't want to have another game that was a one-off in the Alphabet Challenge. I felt it would not have been fair, so I'll do Oniken on a future stream at some point. Yeah. Because I know you liked Oniken. Oh, speaking of Yakuza, yeah, like, I did not put any of them because I was gonna eventually do Yakuza on their own. I'll do Yakuza on their own at some point, Ice Pick. Starting with 0. So I'll do Yakuza 0. And that's a game that people have been telling me I should play. Mega Man Legends was originally going to be part of the game M poll, but I decided to hold off for a potential Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection, which still hasn't come up yet. But I'm hoping we get a Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection. But I have a feeling we're going to get a Battle Network Legacy Collection before we get a Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection. So that would have been nice to have for M, but decided I'm just going to wait for that. Did I put any Mega Man games in the game M poll? No, I did not. I really got to do Yakuza at some point, and Icepick told me to start with 0. I'm going to start with 0. Ironcast. Ironcast is a roguelike puzzle game. I originally was going to put it in the game I poll, but decided against it because when I was watching Silverstone play it on his Alphabet Challenge, he was having a lot of issues with the game, and he was struggling at the end of the game, and after watching it, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to put it on there. It did not look fun, so I'll just not do it. Vanquish was going to be in the game V poll, but I lacked the confidence in my PC running it, but I'm going to have to get it and do a stress test to see how Vanquish runs on my PC while having OBS up to stream, because since I have the solid state drive, I think that it should run things a little bit better. Because I've did a stress test with Strider 2014 a few months ago, and it seems to run great, so I would like to do that at some point. So Vanquish was definitely something that I considered. Kirby 64 was originally part of the K games, but decided against it because I was saving it for the Kirby Marathon that I ended up doing. River City Girls was originally going to be part of the game R games when I scrapped the all Resident Evil idea, and instead in favor of having River City Girls and a couple other R games there. But then I ended up just doing it on a whim after I beat Jet Set Radio that night, and I wanted to fill time, so I decided, you know, I'll just play River City Girls right now, and that's what I did. And also, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was originally going to be in the Alphabet Challenge Game L poll and not Wind Waker HD. Wind Waker HD was originally not going to be in the poll. Skyward Sword was. But I decided to hold off for a potential Skyward Sword HD. And we're getting a Skyward Sword HD on the Switch. So I'll be doing that later this year, guys. I'll be doing Skyward Sword HD. When? I might do it when the game comes out, but we'll see. Yakuza 0 will definitely be something I'll do at some point. I've also considered Devil May Cry, but I thought about doing a marathon, but I decided, you know what? Instead of doing a marathon, I'll just do Devil May Cry games. I'll do 1, then I'll do 2, then I'll do like so on and so forth, but like have breaks in between to play other games so I don't get burned out. Because that's the thing about marathons. I don't want to get, if it's marathons of the same game, because the problem is that I got burned out really badly when I was doing the Mega Man X marathon, but I started to feel the burnout like when I was doing Mega Man X6. Then again, that game sucks. But Mega Man X7 like wasn't any better, but I was feeling burnout around that time. I should have taken like a break for every couple of games. And then X8, I was feeling that burnout really bad. Like, it was like, since that was the last one, I'm like, yeah, just wanted to get over with. I did enjoy the game, like X8, but not as much as X1 to X4. I think X5 was better. And then the Kirby Marathon was kind of cursed because I was trying to do Superstar on the Wii U, and then my Wii U was having issues. And then I was going to do 64 on my Wii U, but I was having issues. But then, while I was still borrowing Epic Man's Wii U, I decided to take my Kirby collection that I have for the Wii so I can play Kirby 64, and that's what I did. But now I still have to do a second run of Kirby's Dream Land 2 to get the true ending, because I did not get the true ending. It's still not going to change my opinion on the game. I still think it's the weakest of the Dark Matter 02 trilogy, like, which is Kirby's Dream Land 2, 3, and 64. I still think Dreamland 2 is the weakest, and the best one I think is 64. But yeah, 64 was going to be in the Alphabet Challenge K games, but again, was going to save it for the marathon. But yeah, those were some of the games that were originally part of some of the polls, but had to take them out for one reason or another. But still, I think this is where I'm going to end the retrospective, because that's practically it. I did everything that I wanted to talk about. I did everything, the tier list, show off some clips, gone over the games, the results, and everything. Man, the Alphabet Challenge was so amazing. I would definitely like to do this again at some point. Not for a long time. Excuse me. But if I do it again, I'm going to do it differently. But I'll keep to myself as to how different it's going to be. But it's probably, I would say, don't expect it for this year and don't expect it for next year. Maybe 2 years from now. But it's definitely not going to happen for a while. I would like to do this again. And I do appreciate everybody that has ever voted for any of the games from A to Z. You guys, thank you all so much for that. And I know for a while, Ice Pick, you actually had a streak going on. I forgot when it stopped, but I know like you had a pretty good streak of all the games. Even the ones that I know like you were interested in the most, you got a lot of them. So like I do have to give you props for that. As far as everything goes, I do appreciate everybody that's been like watching all my games for the Alphabet Challenge, all my streams. And now it's all over, and I already have like the whole like backlog fantasy planned starting in April. So like I'll say this. After I roll the credits, what's going to happen is you're going to, instead of like the usual thanks for watching video, you're going to see the Alphabet Challenge like I made like a little montage in the end where you see like a little video, and it's going to reveal like what the game is towards the end for the Backlog Fantasy, the first one I'm going to do, and then that's going to be the end of the stream. So I have to thank everybody. I'll find a raid target. I'm gonna see who's online that I can actually raid, but I have to thank everybody for coming through. Thanks to Darkus, Maple, Derek DeBoni for the hosts. Thanks to Darkus for all those bits, Zeno for the raid, as well as the gift of sub to Mina, and Darkness88 for the follow. Much appreciate all the support. As far as who I'm going to be raiding, we'll get the raid going like after both the credits and after the montage video that I'm actually doing, which will be towards the end. But as far as it all goes, I am going to be raiding let's see. I am going to be rating. I already rated Matt earlier in the week, so I want to rate someone else. I am going to be rating. Oh, Lizabel's on. I haven't rated her in a while. She's playing Splatoon. Salmon Run, yes, I gotta do that. So yeah, I'll get the raid call going like during both the credits and like the final video. Definitely stay for the final video, guys, because it's gonna reveal what the first game for the Backlog Fantasy is, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of them this year. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Monday for No More Heroes. No stream tomorrow, so have a great night. 5 lasting peace, and I'll see you soon.